That is just straight up the wrong one. How's it going, peeps? It's been a week off, and could you tell? Because I messed things up. We're back with the Misplay for Game podcast. As always, I'm Andrew or Elixir.
What's up, the internet? It's your boy Tom, or the TommyNT. It's nice to be back in the regular studio.
Wait, we're supposed to do the end of the of the VOD.
It's over. Start is all over.
We messed up. See, we don't have the pod for a week, and it's completely gone. Yeah, we are back. I guess that's pretty sick. I love being back.
Yeah, new guest this time as well.
What is KnTElixar, everyone? It is your main boy Balfey here.
No, that was perfect. I don't think we can let anyone else back on until somebody gets as good as that.
Yeah,
as good as what's
except Digidread, who I have said many times, I will leave the show if that's what it takes for him to come on.
Nah, he'll be here. Like we'll actually start doing guests. We're up to episode 17 now. And I said 20 is where I'm maybe gonna actually start booking in guests instead of going, who's free this week? So we'll get a range of guests from still the fanboy people and also from some other channels. You know, we've had Huang on, we might have him back. You know, spoilers, I guess. I'm gonna be on the DigiGod podcast soon. So, you know, we'll try and get someone from there. DGS has just started doing their podcast remotely. So maybe we'll grab someone from Digital Gate Studios. We've got all kinds of things to do. If you do like the podcast and want it to explode, hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. In fact, if you're on the podcast, I'd assume you're already an avid subscriber, because who the hell's first introduction to this channel is the podcast?
Yeah, that would be really weird. It's like, you know, they lock in, they're like here for like episode 9, and they see Terry, and they're like, man, I love this Terry guy. And he's not in any of the gameplay recordings.
And then it's fun because they'll be able to go to PGSC.
We're doing the plugs at the end now.
Yeah.
No, but
we do the plugs now, but we take a really long time to piss off the people that complain about doing plugs during the game.
No, don't give people shout outs, Andrew. No.
Speaking of
not the rookies.
Yeah, I mean,
GSC
is back. We're back.
Me.
Who else is back? I mean, Tom's back in the UK. So we're back to being consistent.
I got a haircut.
We are so back. Marcio's unwashed. I'm unwashed. I got second at a thing. Balfey top.
Washed.
Oh, I top with something though.
Bro didn't even top. Bro won, like straight up. Like,
yeah, Balfey won the Evo Cup. I don't even think we made that in the introduction, but we're gonna talk about that because it was fun.
Oh yeah, and Tom scammed a pre-release, so everyone's on a W this week.
I bubbled my Evo Cup though, which is very.
It's okay though. Of the ones that win though, I'd say that maybe scamming $100 plus out of a cool store in Indianapolis is pretty good.
Yeah, shoutouts. I'll plug the stores later. We'll do that towards the end.
Actually, you know, I made the joke about like, how is the podcast your first introduction to the channel? I think more people said they watched the podcast than they watched the channel at the regional. I got to, like, we were at the Birmingham regional, and someone said, just like, I know you from somewhere. Misplay for Game, right? I was like, no way did you go with the podcast and not the channel name. That's crazy.
Elixar from Misplay for Game?
Yes,
no, bro, he's not even Elixar from Misplay Game. That's Andrew.
That's Andrew.
That's brilliant name, Andrew. What's up? We got somebody in the chat. Welcome back, everybody.
We're live on YouTube, Twitch, and this will go up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as per usual. If you're watching those on those other platforms, please do the ratings or whatever. Especially Apple Podcasts. We know there are people out there. We check the analytics. Hi. But also, yeah, Melody in chat, the Jellymon player that got to play against Balfey at the Salford Regional.
We don't bring up the Salford Regional for me.
Oh, man.
Oh, we definitely should bring up the Salford Regional.
Salford Regional.
You've had a couple months, huh?
You know that... Go on.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying, do you know those two that's like day in the life of X? I should be like day in the life of a serial Omnimon owner, and it will be like me showering with my Blitz Omni.
Moist shuffle it to make sure.
I go to work with I tuck my Blitz Omni into bed.
Yeah, it's like I make scrambled eggs and I just like tear the Omni into little bits for my scrambled eggs.
That's awesome.
It wouldn't be the weirdest thing that will have happened to some paper and or cardboard on this channel. I can't wait for that deck profile to come out. The Birds one just came out for members today. Comes out tomorrow. For everyone that was asking, Marcio's deck list is up. probably like 2 days after that. And
Okay.
then Balfey's second most unhinged deck profile on the channel soon. Nothing's beating Derek, but it was certainly a valiant attempt.
I was a big fan. It was a good one.
You had to be there.
So we've been, like Andrew said, it's been about a week off and on. You know, it's been, you saw a little bit of us in May, but we're kind of getting back into some real meat and potatoes here. But much like us getting back into the swing of this, Digimon and its release cycle, nature has healed, and BT16 is available globally as of
For the whole world. No more.
4 days ago. So we all made it, and we all got through the dark times. If you personally never hope to have to play Mirage Numemon bracket again, I hope you can continue to live in that delusion.
Keep playing against those decks.
Because they are still the best 2 decks in the game. Magnamon is all right. But yeah, but with BT16 comes Evo Cups. I would love to talk the hype of the sets and stuff. Y'all had a chance to open any products?
Okay, I have the story for you. So, can confirm that the boxes are definite, like the cases are definitely mapped, because me and Emily, silly us, we were excited to get some BT16, you know, go to my local card shop. 95 quid for a box, 95 Great British pounds. Whatever, it's BT16. Both of the secret rares are very good. The altar's very good. Yeah, my boxes were the exact same pulls, except like 1 card difference. It was Sylphie Altar and Chaosmon Altar, which are not even like the better alts you can get, by the way. Like, they're kind of like middle of the pack. Terry, you know, he's like chilling. He got his alts for practically nothing. Meanwhile, you know, people are opening Magnas and Rapids and I'm crying inside, so.
I've heard a lot of people complaining about the seeding. There was a guy on Reddit the other day talking about it, saying that it's been a pretty bad one. But I can't help but wonder with a lot of these. I think I was having this conversation with somebody about this on the Discord before, about like you know, maybe we're all kind of burned after 15 and the LM cards. You know what I mean? Like, if you've opened, and those sets, like BT15 still holds up as like a set people are opening to try and pull SRs and stuff like that, because like Bugs hype is really up right now, and like
Digimon.
Yeah, people are like, if you haven't managed to get your like their disparate like DigiPlease stuff, like DigiPlease is on paper this deck that gets better and stuff like that. So people are chasing those. Birds gets better, like Mercy said. So people are still opening 15 and going, oh god, this sucks. So you open 16 and you go, oh man, I didn't pull a ghost rare and a secret rare altar, and you're like, well, I guess this set sucks too. And it's like,
we
no.
should drown him in the ocean.
Yeah, well, many have tried.
I'm trying.
Not me, that's for sure. My money floats. Yeah, I pulled a Magnamon X and an alt Magnamon X at my pre-release. So.
And then your brother shows up in the country and just does significantly. I think his is maybe more heinous. Yeah,
it's pretty messed up. Harry pulled the Ghost fighter mode, the like campaign rare, SP rare. So very nasty. But sometimes it's easy to pop off when you've just been desperate. Like, if I pulled a regular any of the secrets, I'd have been like, oh my god, a real box. But here we are. So hey, we take those. What about you, Balfey? You open any boxes? Pat, product addiction settled.
As always, new set comes out, I buy one box, but now my box contained negative secret. I got my 1-0R, and then I owned the Magnamon for probably less than a second before it was added to SAS with vaccine armor. But I got my revenge on that.
Yeah. We'll come to that in just a sec. That is pretty sweet.
But BT16 for me, it just wasn't a set where Fenrir got a bit better, you know, Dino B, got all this stuff. But nothing in 16, I was like, I need to play this. It's like, it was more so a couple of SRs, a couple of commons, but nothing really. Yeah, 6. That's the big set for me.
I'll be honest, it wasn't until I opened a dev now just to be like, oh, we're probably going to talk 16. Let me get card dev. I forgot that there was a Hell Lugar. I thought that the BT16 support for Fenrir, unironically, was just Dino B, and everyone was like, oh yeah, we've claimed him. He's our support. It's like, oh no, they gave you a card. You just never gonna use it.
I can't believe that you thought that Hellugar was the card that people had got up. Like the Solugar is legitimately the best in slot Solugar.
Oh, massive! I've not seen anyone use that Hellugar.
That Helluga is one of the worst cards I've ever read in my life, Andrew. It's just off.
Oh yeah, Soluga was in this
BT16.
set. Yeah.
We did a 16 review and described it as a bookmark.
Yeah, I don't even remember that. It's just like been Men in Black just like eraser raid from my brain. I was seeing that card for the first time and unimpressed for the second time apparently.
Yeah.
Leviamon got some pieces, but
Do not play Leviamon. That deck is hot garbage.
Well, they nerfed it too, right? Like in Japan, it's just had a ruling change decision that came through following some stuff with the Sukamon things. So we'll see how that goes. I loved the last set when everybody described, like, you know, there was the potential that it was like, oh man, all this great machine support. Like Balfey's a machine guy. Like you find a machine guy every now and then. You'll beat them on the corner. They'll come through. But that was like, you know, Ultimate Connection. Wow, the new Marvin Jackson. Wow, all these new amazing machine cards. And then Leviamon's like, I bite you twice.
Yeah. Marvin Jackson was bait for machines, and I'm not letting that go.
Yeah. But we'll have to see if the changes make a big difference or not, because otherwise it is just like, it's one of those. 16 is fully out for Europe. Yeah, the adventure box is still sometimes kind of AWOL, but we'll see how it goes.
It depends. Some stores have them. I don't know if our store has them. They're on places like Card Vault. But speaking of, BT16 is out in the UK if you're a brick and mortar store. If you're not a brick and mortar store and you're like an online retailer, it's still kind of thing. We don't have our dispatch email on our case yet. So in terms of opening BT16 product, I've opened one, and that was because I got to cast that European regional. So I got one from Raid and Trade who did not have the UK delays. But I have still yet to open any English BT16 products. They sold out of BT16 when we got to Jesters for my like participation pack. So I still haven't opened a pack of English BT16 yet from the UK. It's all been that one German import box.
It's literally like, it's pretty much Europe has 16, like very easily available across like Europe. Card Market is popping. Like you can find everything for relatively good prices compared to TCG Player, which is absurd, by the way. Like the cards on Card Market are going for a fraction.
Yeah, you guys are in hell.
Yeah.
So
cheap. Yeah, it's the UK specifically that like got a little bit shafted by one of the main distributor.
I had a conversation with some folks. Shout out to Valkyrie's Vault in Indianapolis, having conversations with people there about like the card prices and stuff, and it's like some of the stuff is straight up cheaper to import from Germany. Like if you can find a Card Market vendor who will sell to the US.
Good point by BB Dudes in the chat. It feels like I think this is the most sought after set in like a long while, and like stores are like, you know, selling out, which is good because it means that like even though I think the player base maybe hasn't decreased, but it's not like that initial like, you know, boom.
Yeah.
People are still willing to spend money, even on like sealed product, which is like, you know, always you usually tend to nag most of the time on sealed product when you buy Digimon boxes. But the set is so good because, you know, Nume and Magnex aside, like there are tons of decks that you could play.
I've seen a lot of people attribute, like, this is technically also the first Western like full set release since the Digimon Card Fest announcements and Liberator. And I think I've seen a lot of people on like general like Digimon fandom spaces attributing Liberator to being like a big revival in their interest in the card game. So, you know, touch wood. I like what Bandai's doing. Liberator's fun. Maybe we'll do a Liberator thing.
Why is it not an anime?
Yeah, we came back on an off week, so next week we'll probably do some Liberator discussion and all that because they'll probably be done with the first full chapter by then.
This is Marcio's 1 week reminder that he does have to read the novel.
The novel. I haven't started reading the novel. I read the webtoon or the, you know, online comic. The actual novel. No pictures, no read.
It's your deck.
Hey bud, there's pictures.
There's one picture every 2 pages?
Yeah, there's pictures. It's a picture book for children.
What were you saying, Balfey?
No, I was just trying to say, because I'd finally read the Liberators webtoon the other day, because I just avoided it for some reason. I think I couldn't read it when it first came out. I sort of just dodged it. And then I got told it was about a card game, and then interest just immediately spiked.
It's fun. Like we won't spoil it here, but like I
There's
think
so
you guys
many
would
good
agree with me.
moments.
Yeah,
like,
it's like if you like moving that mem gauge around and going, look at my goofy card.
Wait,
it's
no,
fun.
the Liberator comic hasn't been updated for like 2 weeks. You're out of spoiler zone. We're talking. We should talk Liberator.
We can talk a little.
We can do it on the dedicate when we do like EX7, right? We can do it
Did
all.
we settle?
Bro, I thought we were gonna do this as
Lowdown
weekly
right?
book club.
But yeah, but then they announced it comes out every other week, so we kind of got smoked.
Every other weekly book club. All right, next. Yeah, we'll sort it out for episode 18.
Listen, but that's why 16 is hard to get a hold of. But now that it's here, we have a chance to really sit down and get our teeth into it. And you know what else was delayed when BT16 kind of got Omega punked here in the UK? Was Evo Cups. They were a very anticipated format coming over from the East. Tons of Japanese players put themselves on the map with them. There's a bunch of really exciting, like, put Misplay the game. God bless. Shout out to DHM_. But like, there's, a ton of people that have really put themselves on the map being back-to-back Evo Cup champions. They qualified for the Invitational Series over there. And here it's like 2 degrees of separation from everyone who's jealous that NA gets store regionals and we don't. So Evo Cups are here. They're no longer delayed. We've all had a chance to play in at least one of them to varying amounts of success. And I would love to talk about it if you guys got a sec. Have you got any fun Evo Cup stories, gentlemen? Anything you'd like to share? Any particularly exciting decks with interesting win conditions?
I believe that karma is real.
I can do mine because it's like a bit smaller, and then like we can do the main event, like the main dish. I'm the entree. So I didn't play at the first Evo Cup that our store had because one, it was BT15, and I didn't want to do that. And also I was casting no heroes that day, which is kind of funny. And when we went to the Evo Cup, like literally yesterday, I basically told myself that I was going to play Tyrant on the principle that this would be my event for I'm doing like air quotes for the people watching, listening on Spotify. My event, air quotes, for the format, right? Where it's like I take my deck and it's like, I build it to what I think I'm going to play against, and then whatever. Like I don't have to keep torturing myself with Tyrant for the rest of the format. Now, a while back I did say, I'm going to play Tyrant. This is going to be so sick. And then, the deck it's fine. It's a fine deck, but like I can only be a gatekeeper deck for so long before I either get bored or I just don't get anything out of it, because eventually that kind of deck just, you solve it, right? So it was 4 rounds we played. I played against Balfey and I lost to Balfey's funny win condition. And then I played against, I don't know if it was Armor, first it was Myotis, but it wasn't like the sort of like Lilith mummy loop or whatever people are calling it now.
Expansion one.
Yeah, exactly, like the
sure, Rubymon spawns 1,000 Dukomons.
The Jack Raid cha-cha, where you go, whoa, Jack Raid, gain to memory, Lilith, gain to, yeah, whatever. And to be fair, my opponent was playing sort of more like towards the pure version of the deck, and Tyrant just has bot deck, and you never give them on deletion. And then I played against, after that, it was 2 armors back-to-back. I won my first armor game because I added a very specific tech to the deck, which was Bancho Leomon. And basically, I got a few people asking me about, like, oh, why Bancho Leo? I've always been a Bancho Leo, like, advocate since the card came out. I've been telling people the card's crazy. The card's, like, solos so many matchups by itself.
Those Leomons are good cards.
Yeah, basically, with the Bancho Leo, the idea is to just, against armor, Tyrant, or bugs in general, even back in BT9, we always struggled into Magna X or whatever, because you have to swing into them and then they just purge, right? Like it's very anti-green. Like I don't get to pierce and burn, so because they purge. But with the Bancho Leomon, because it's when a Digimon becomes suspended, you give them the debuff, and when they purge, the Vmon dies. So you're actually able to sort of like slowly clear their board. Eventually they do run out of things and you don't. And then the second game that I played against Armors, this was potentially for top 4. Like between me and him, whoever won would have gotten top 4. Both of my Bancho Leomons were in security, so I basically it was already okay. One, I got sacked like in security like 2 checks. I went Grand Quagam on Ace, Pierce because he didn't have an armor. I was like, oh, I'm gonna win tempo here, and it was first check Heaven, second check Sardek Magna, and I was like, oh, my bad, I didn't want to win anyway. But he was never really doing anything like my opponent.
Was it Jambo for that round?
No, it was Russell.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he knew what a lot of my cards did, and I don't think his list was particularly like how the successful armor lists are being built. Like, he did not have a lot of like the cards that he should be playing, basically. I think his list was like kind of carrying principles from BT15 armor and then just trying to fit in like Magna X, which just doesn't really work. And I basically it was a tie because we went all the way into overtime, and I was on 0 security, 0 cards in deck, and it was time on overtime. And well, I didn't win. It was still in a world where I got my Bancho Leomons, I probably would have won, but it would have been too late because I would have been behind a game if I conceded a lot earlier. I would have been behind a game, and most Tyrant games are already so grindy. Like, you do get to play best of 3s to their full extent a lot of the times, but sometimes you're just like, oh, you win game 1 and then you just stabilize game 2 as best as you can because Tyrant struggles to kill quickly. So you just try to win those game 1s. And yeah, we even did the deck profile for Andrew. Will I keep playing Tyrant for the rest of the format? Most likely no. Maybe I'll play it like on and off. But there's so much to test and like play that, I want to try like a bunch of other stuff.
It also hurts that it's a short format too.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Literally 3-week long format before EX6 comes out, which feels really weird to say.
I mean, EX6 is understood. Like when we get these format, like BT12 was to EX4, where it's like, this is part 2 of your format or whatever. Yeah, this is the like expected metagame that you interact with, and it'll last until August. We get that, but like,
there's maybe like 2 decks that are like okay that actually contribute to the format,
and the other one is Ragnet. Hell yeah!
We talk, boys. We can't get on this. Misao went 12-1 on Mastemon. Like, there's so much stuff in EX6 that's untapped because people just didn't test it.
All right, Balfey, how was?
But we're not there yet. Let's hear about Evo Cups.
Wait, before Balfey's run, I just want to get my thing out of the way. I got my playset of Lydramons and I got a Magna X from Tom. So like my Evo Cup was successful regardless of how the games were. I ruined a Shine Greymon's day again. If you hate Shine Greymon and you simply live to spite someone, pick up Grace Novamon and put 4 Dianamon in your deck because you will win the matchup simply by resolving the card every single turn. There's nothing they can do about it, and they are never going to have fun. You could actually watch their eyes roll into the back of their skull and never come back.
You do have to play 4 though.
I have, I mean, maybe not even 4, maybe just more than, what are you on, 2?
I was on 3.
Okay, run 4.
I had them in security.
That's why you run the 4th one. They can't all be in security. But yeah, the matchup is dead ass unlosable. So I have not dropped the game to Shine since. I've just not dropped a game to Shine. So just if you hate Shine Greymon players, play Grace Nova. 8 SRs. It's a win condition. Anyway, Balfey, who actually did well at the event.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me sort this camera out. Yeah, so it's like surprising Grace Nova. Grace Nova was what I thought I'd be going into BT16 with. I thought it seemed interesting, I'd do it. And then I tested for an entire day against Tyrant and Yellow Vaccine, and it was just 8 hours of just constant losing. So I just started thinking, what can out Mandamon X basically. And Belfamon sort of came into hand. I saw a YouTube video. I did what beats Magna X. Didn't agree with some of the ratios. Changed it. And then, brought it to Evo Cup. And that is Belfamon Apoclymon. Which is very funny card because it is 2 decks basically. If you don't see the Apoclymon, you're playing not optimized Belfamon. And if you see the Apoclymon, you're playing, you will see the fear in your opponent's eye when you say how many left in deck. Because I will say in this Evo Cup, 7-8 out of 8 matches, my opponent got milled to death.
And I feel like you could have made it 8 out of 8. You just had to kill Seth for the sake of it.
No, because Saf had gotten rid of the last one in the yellow vaccine. I hadn't seen a Pokemon yet, and a Pokemon was when I ended it. A Pokemon was still like 4 or 5 cards left in the deck. So, but yeah, so the Evil Cup went better than I thought it would. I sort of expected to rock up, get bottom, and then just walk away. But what happened was undefeated.
No games dropped.
Give us the 411 here, Balfey. Why would you stick a Pokemon and Belphemon together? What's the magic glue that holds it all together?
So a Pokemon's on end of turn is slot a level 6 or lower underneath, and then you get it on play's effect.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously with Belphemon, that thing's on play is put Rage Mode underneath, and it is now unaffected by every card effect.
Right.
So
pretty good.
So you do that with a Pokemon. So a Pokemon now it's a 15k. It's either got Reboot, Retaliate, Blocker, Piercing. Generally, the combo you want to do is Blocker, Retaliate, so nothing lives it.
Mm-hmm.
But the benefit of it slotting another card underneath is it immediately mills 10 of your opponent's deck. And like I said, they can't out it with Digimon effects, they can't out it with option cards. It's just there on the field. So that's always good, but I had a Numemon player who outed it. He hard slammed Etamon, gave it DP minus for my turn, had to swing, and then he blocked it with Venusmon, killing my Pokemon. So there are ways out of it.
Mm-hmm.
The funny card is how you mitigate that is I like to call Friendship.
Yep.
And Friendship is a neat little 3-cost purple option that just specifies get a Digimon from trash to hand. No color, no level. It is just get a Digimon to hand. And this card is just because no matter what,
card's evil.
Yeah, the card is evil. But the best thing I had, it was match 2. I was in his Numemon. He had a bit of board. I was digging, had my trash set up. So he swung a Pokemon first check. I'm like, all right. I've got the option in here. I'll dig for it. He swung second check, hit this in security.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately activate the effect and just got a Pokemon back to hand.
It's just not normal.
Because the security is activate the effect, not add it to hand. So it just immediately gave me back my Pokemon, which I then hard slammed for 3. And then I had Belphemon out on field as well. So all the level 5s were getting popped. He Vault Ace, I popped that with the Belphemon Tamer, and then a Pokemon just next turn milled 14, end of the game.
Good God.
It is evil. BBDs with the 5, appreciate it. Yeah, the tech is sick. I think the underrated part of the whole thing is the Belphemon package is so belligerent as well. Like playing the matchup against Balfey on Wednesday, Karata being able to pop a 6 or higher and Belphemon popping 5 or lower is this 7th circle of hell thing that you kind of forget exists when you're like, oh, okay, it's a Pokley, I've got to pay around it. And it's like, well, if you try and play on board, I'm answering everything as soon as the Karata shows up. Like slamming, like once the Apocalypse down and he just slams the second sleep mode for 12, who cares?
Yeah.
Or however much Astamon costs, because let's be real, everyone's just slamming Astamon. You just set up in a checkmate scenario where like you are just getting unblockable and you have to hold that. It's so annoying. Like I think the game I lost, it was, oh, I have to end on Grace Nova here or I lose, but Karata's end of opponent's turn, so you can't even do like the start of turn become a 7 because it's getting blown up on the way out. So it's really difficult.
Yeah, you went into Grace, but then obviously Belphemon, with this deck, you're having less than 6 cards in hand anyway.
Yeah.
So Belphemon then gets the plus 3,000, becomes 7k. It can swing over Magnaret somewhat if it's just got 1 security.
That plus 3 is really annoying, man. Yeah. I forgot that is a thing.
It swings over practically everything in the format at 17k. And like I said, Errata, the Tamer does not pop level 7s. It's the option card that does it.
Yeah, which I guess people are assuming that you're on because they're like, oh, Belphemon, I can't swing because I'll hit a gift and there's just no gift.
That is the worst part though, is like I would watch Balfey, like I midway through my first game, like I stand up, I take a break, whatever, and I like look in the corner, I'm like, he's got like a Karata and a Gizmon. I'm like, he brought Belphemon? And then I turn around and there's an Apocalypse and a Machine Dramon. And I'm like, oh, this got pretty bad, pretty fast.
Yeah. So the thing about BT16 is that a lot of the main decks take a while to set up, Vaccine Armor being the main one. They take a while, they're not threatening lethal very quickly. And the thing with my deck, with the Ukomons, because the only BT16 card in this deck is the new BT16 Ukomon. And it is just play that with Demimera, like search, then you sacrifice it for an AT-AT, pop the Demimera, pitch, draw 2, the AT, draw 2, pitch 2, and you just keep recycling that over and over. So in like 1-2 turns, you can cycle through like 15 cards in your deck, just with drawing, getting rid, Analog Youth, like Karatas. It's just, everything's just gas. I've taken out one, since the Evo, I'm testing out like new level 4, so I put 2 Raremon in it, for just more gas.
Good card, that. Famously.
Yeah. So I've taken out one each of the level 5s, put in just 2 Raremon, see what it does. And it just means I have an Evo option with Astamon instead of just high slamming it now.
One of the things that we also found that was really interesting is the Dark Masters actually have really good matchups into the ace cards. Like end of turn load we're theorizing it because he's not on calling. Like Lament is actually his way of getting Apocalypse back, because calling obviously can't bring back Apocalypse because it's not purple. We realized that like end of turn, if you pass low enough and then you load like Machine and just on play Digivolve 2, suddenly gives you your turn back. So you get your end of turn, you get your, you know, mill 14. Like, I don't know, if Balfey finds a way to blow up that Apocalypse, bring it back with the memory he got from Overflow or Boost or something, and then mill you again, I'm just killing him across the table. We're not playing game 3, I'm strangling him.
I think it's a neat deck. I was thinking about like other things, like, because the way to think about it is like people are going to see the deck and some people are going to experiment and trying to like improve on the deck, and then there's going to be some people that are going to try one up that and then try to figure out ways around the deck. And like at the end of the day, it's still like a Balfamon deck, so like anything that has like on deletion triggers, you can kind of like force them to delete your stuff. So for example, like Nume, I think like Nume into Balfamon usually is like, oh, I can just turn skip you, because you know you have to wake up, you'll blow up my guys, and I just on deletion get the memory back. But then like the Apocalypse adds like another dimension to that, where like now you're milling the Nume player, and they don't mind getting milled like for the first 10, but eventually like something will break, plus like the Etamon forcing you to attack.
I've had some interesting matchups because I've had Apocalypse in hand, but I haven't had Rage Mode in trash. It's on the board, but it hasn't died yet. And 9 out of 10 times, the Rage Mode itself is just a big enough threat that the opponent will just kill it for me.
Well, the thing that's really interesting about, like you mentioned the Etamon specifically, like the thing that's really interesting about Balfamon and the way it's resilient to this stuff is that sleep mode is taunt proof. You can't, it gives itself this Digimon can't attack Kalumon style. So it can be selected and then it goes fails to attack. I can't do that. And by doing that, by copying that on play with Apocalypse, the same would be true. So you have some ways around different angles that would prevent you from doing like, you know, people love to talk about Shakumon and that, you know, the Armadillomon armor level 4s list that Wong posted that everyone's very excited about is cool. But like this deck can just say, no, I'm not listening. Taunts don't do anything to it.
The
cool.
thing
In what way?
Balfamon sleep mode's on play. You want to card IO that one, Andrew?
Yeah.
Balfamon sleep mode's on play makes the Digimon activating the on play unable to attack until the opponent's turn ends.
Yeah, but when it goes back to your turn.
Right, so end of turn, Apocalypse goes round, and then it's your opponent's turn starts and they taunt you. Like if they've got like if you had a taunt live or anything like that, or they're gonna do like a collision, like all of these things are like your Digimon. Oh, is it can't attack or can't suspend?
It can't attack. Yeah, no.
Oh, never mind. I read. My bad, gentlemen. This is why you future proof. No, I thought it couldn't suspend. Never mind.
No. You can still taunt. Like the whole principle is that you make it attack like when it wakes up, or like when it's no longer unaffected. It's
well,
like
that is true as well. Yeah.
It's like Blue Flare. Blue Flare into this deck. It means it can't suspend. But I'll say that the only reason this deck works in this format is there are very few high-end level 7s popping about, so there's very little that the Tamer can't pop or Belfamon can't pop. There's no Psychmons. There's no play cost reduction.
Well, no, Chumon. Nume's playing Chumon.
Chumon, yes.
I'm not Chumon. Sorry, Chicory.
Yeah.
Chicory, yes, but they're not playing it enough where I'm like, it happened. I played against a new Maimon player. I then rematched him. He had the Chicory, but it's
you
a
wake up and you wake up and you pop it. So for you specifically.
Also, yeah, like Astamon isn't reducing play cost, it's just cheating. So like if you're under Floodgate, you just go, okay, cool, I'll pay my 7, I'll plus 10. I don't give a shit.
And you can even get around Ruin Mode just because you're never under 10k.
But so yeah, there's a few leeways why this deck works. Like I said, there's no popping in this deck, there's no Floodgate poppers, there's nothing like that. It is just all gas to get to Belfamons quick enough, to get to the Boxmon quick enough. But Evo Cup was it was a good day for me for Evo Cup, because out of the 8 games I had 2 of them I started with a Potley in hand. 1 it came up in security check, and the second security check just gave it me back.
You just put some evil out into the world, because not only is it going to be you playing this, it's also going to be Derek. Like,
and me. I'm not gonna lie, boys. The mill deck is so real.
It's so funny as well, because normally when like a new set comes out and there's something that's really strong and the testing day happens, it's Derek that comes up with just like I hate Saf, so I'm trying to actively hunt him down on a Wednesday night local. And then this time it's just Balfey just rocks up. And what's crazy is on the Wednesday, he obviously inted Liam, as is his God-given right, to ruin his bracket. And then after that got smoked by Emily. And that video came out on the channel today. So it's just like, yeah, we invited Balfey on fresh off his win. He's designed to beat yellow armor. Blue armor folds his shit and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's just like, I'm just like, trust, the deck is good. This is just it getting smoked for 5 games.
Yeah, because I think I played who you played in your finals with blue armor sort of thing. They just did not do well against me. I expected to get smoked, but I don't think they were playing Zudo. I don't think they were playing much. It wasn't, because I smoked them very, very. It wasn't easy, but it was easy enough where it was consistent, where he wasn't keeping bouncing. With Emily, it was every other turn something was bouncing, someone was getting. Then the 2 Magnamons did not help.
That was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe you needed the Evo Cup win to just balance out how badly you got sacked on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, but like I said, the yellow vaccine matchup, it just went smooth. Like I said, because he had Magnarex on field, he had Rapidex on field, but I had 3 other tamers out. So I just loaded 2 of the tamers under the Belfamon, shrunk the Rapidex down to Patamon, and then Rage Mode just cleared board. So that's another way that the tamer helps. It just gets through Armor Purge by itself. And then if the Belfamon ever dies, your level 5 just come out to replay him.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
It's a very cool deck. Very cool. I look forward to seeing it against literally anyone but me.
Yeah, it's like I said, I did this just to see yellow vaccine. I hated it, and I just wanted to be. I wanted to see pain in the world. I just wanted to see you're unaffected by anything. Me too.
Listen,
but you mill 14.
You don't have to apologize, Balfey. All card games are better for having interesting control, aggro, combo, mid-range, and mill.
Yeah, but
you need them.
Yeah, now Evo Cut I was just built different. I saw Alphamon in the top quarter of my deck for 7 games in a row.
You think you are a Batman playing a pocket? You're actually just Rorschach, okay? You are not that cool.
Listen.
You're like, I'm taking out the evil in the world.
You gotta. The yellow vaccine players, they sit down, they're like, today we'll resolve Patamon and Blinding Ray. And you're like, today you will trash Patamon and Blinding Ray from your deck.
But no, it was because Marcel, I just remember Marcel was I saw Marcel struggling to draw into an end, and then I played a Pokemon, and then I just saw I milled 3 Tyrants.
It wasn't even. It's the more that the matchup is because he's also I'm unaffected conditionally. He's unaffected by everything, and because a tamer, it's deletion from a tamer. That just automatically beats Tyrant. If he finds Karada, I'm forced to go into Grand Koaga to pop the Karada, but then the XC just plays it back out again. So it's eventually because my deck kills slowly. It doesn't really matter what he does. He has too many win conditions for me to beat.
Yeah, which is BT16 for me. It feels a lot more controlly than normal. Imperial Dramon partition I can get over because I just blow up all their partitions next turn. Magnarettes, I just wait them out. I generally have the better long game. Tyrant, again, think I have the better long game. Tyrant can screw me over if they go fast enough, with a lot of checks and bouncing and whatnot. And then Nume, I'd say in Nume's favour just because of how much they can swing. But as soon as I start getting blockers out, Belfamon out, it becomes very hard if they don't have their trash set up to like come back. So I just think it is just the meta. I think it's just what the meta is at the moment. It just lets the deck do a bit more.
Oh yeah, I mean, like if you show up expecting to deal with Numemons on your yellow vaccine armor disc, and you just sit down and go, "Oh, my opponent milled me 24," you know.
Yeah.
Welcome to rock paper scissors.
Moving on.
We got some regionals. Like I said, 16 did not take forever to get to the whole world, just here in the UK. And I'm going to go ahead and post in our chat. We got the Eggman events coverage for Play TCG's online regional. This was, I believe, June 1st, last weekend now. Got a couple things to go over. Yes, 50% of the pie is Numemon. We did just talk about that. We'll come back to that in a sec. Want to highlight a couple specific lists individually. And for the folks here on the show with me, the linking on Eggman events is different now, so we'll actually have to have you click on the links themselves as opposed to me sending them, but that's fine. We'll make it all work.
Oh yeah, because he uses his own deck builder.
His own deck builders here, yeah. So let's get rolling. We got to start with Huang Zero, Mr. Alex Pham himself, hitting first place on Numemon to cap off the start of BT16. The list is wild, the deck is great, and y'all know what's up.
I think he just we knew that like Nume was going to be projected like tier 1, but I think if it isn't for the fact that like people want to play their pet decks, we could be approaching a near tier 0 format.
I think at least for the UK and Europe, the fact that we don't, the UK has no events, I think saves us, because there's like, who cares? Like there's nothing to play for. You're just causing people to dislike you at locals. Like we're avoiding it. But for like the US and places that still actually have regionals, I wouldn't be surprised if the fact that Nume right off the bat just came through and like 50% that's rough.
Insane.
Yeah, it's unprecedented for a good little while too.
And it's mostly the same. Yeah, it's mostly the same shell, by the way. Like before, there used to be some nuance to Nume. Now there's no nuance. Like the deck is before used to be like, oh, you play your 30 whatever Nume cards, and then you get to add your text. Now, like everything is like almost predetermined.
I think we all knew that black base was better, and purple was just kind of like a weird cope.
No,
it had a very legit, like black base had a more consistent, like you were less likely to just open unplayable and die because you couldn't build in the back and you had no actual like diverging gameplay path. But when purple base popped off, it popped off so hard that the game ended. Yeah,
it's just I feel like
now in this format we've kind of doubled back to like, oh, actually there are just enough disturbingly good consistency boosters like
it's basically like the lack of Mirage in Japan allowed the purple base to sort of like do its thing, right? Like
and in NA.
And so like purple Nume just gets to exist when like people don't respect it, and like in Japan it was sort of like the surprise factor deck, and people were experimenting with like, the Imperials, the Rapids, the whatever. And then purple Nume just shows up and it's just so much faster than everything else. Whereas like for us, it's like, well, we know Nume is good. We don't need to be that fast. We just have to be the best deck. And so like the black base just offers you like the most versatility. Before it used to be like, oh, purple, black, red, whatever. Now you should just be playing black base.
Yeah. It got to the point where it's like, if your deck comprises like you play Digi-Eggs to evolve over into Digimon with DP. They don't not necessarily rookie Digimon, but most of the time they're rookie Digimon. But you play them so that you can promote a level 3 Digimon other raising area and begin playing your game plan. And when your deck is 8 Ukomons and some suite of generically powerful Black Floodgate rookies, it doesn't matter anymore. Like you don't like. I've heard a lot of people talk about like the strength of Digimon Emperor as a counter card, and like was Black Base better against that than purple, or different layers to it. It's like, yeah, but like at this point, you're not evolving over an Ukomon anyway. Like there is no, like you're just playing the tool to have it be the most consistent thing as possible, right? And so there you get to this point where you're like, oh right, like there is there was critical mass where it's like, I don't think it's out of the question that we'll see a purple base top in this format, like in the 6 weeks.
I can see it.
I wouldn't be surprised,
I think it's
but
on
also,
the table.
It's also, Nume's already shown, like, Kwang, like, day one just shows up, wins this thing on black base, and, like, I feel like purple especially was getting a lot of popularity towards the end of 15, because, like, Dan Vang took it, and it's like, oh, snap, the GOAT has come through and said purple base is the wave. I'm gonna try purple. Now it's like, okay, we're back to black. Like, it's also the only one that is not beholden to dice rolling security in order to get a draw, which I think is really important over the other colors, because like Koromon is still requiring a security to be flipped, purple is requiring something to die, so like you're having to engage in combat with something, whereas black is just like, oh, you pushed out your Ukomon, evolve your Numemon or Garamon into Nume X, enjoy your free +1.
I think it's also the purple base was sort of like an early sort of like adaptation to fight against things like Leviamon, because Leviamon was sort of like another, in the same way that Davis kept Nume in check, Levia was sort of like very similar. And so the purple base basically allowed them to play things like the Omnimon Zwart Defeat as a way to like, oh, if you delete me, I delete you back. And it's a lot worse for the Levia player to lose their stack. Like Nume doesn't care if they lose one of their like 5 rookies, or well, one stack and they still have like 4 rookies left. Like ultimately it doesn't matter. But
they gained +2 off the platinum Nume, right? Like they don't mind evolving for net 1 memory.
Exactly. Like, and also like sacking out of security is like, oh, thing got played by effect, do you want your Leviamon triggers? Go on. You want to trigger your stuff, right? Go on, do it. Right? But with Leviamon gone in BT16,
Yeah.
Why ever play that base? It's also the Chumon. That's the other thing, because you're allowed to play like multiple Chumons out on the same turn. You actually do have a fairly good Mirage matchup.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is like if you actually look at like, again, I want to be super clear with this, no discrediting to Huang or any of the other 8 folks out of this top 16 top cut. Like Numemon is the correct answer to a solve, like how do you answer the problem of I want to top my first event of the format? You bring Numemon, you play the event out. It's a great call.
It was an online event as well, right?
Yes. So
so you're playing for one Blitz. You're playing for one Blitz Omni, so you bring everything. And Huang's list is really well tech. Like, Etamon showing up is fantastic.
Yeah, the purple mat is so smart. The first time I'd seen somebody explain like the pitch from the hand to text the memory is crazy. But the like actual piece of this puzzle here is that like when you look at the other things that I guess in your preparation would be your expected topping decks, it is Numemon, Yellow Vaccine, and little super blue decks. So like in that format where your understood quantities are, I'm not playing against purple anymore, I'm playing against yellow and blue. This makes the most sense. The ace, like we haven't even gone into the new cards that Numemon gets. Etamon is fantastic. Etamon Valk is just buck wild. Like it doesn't make sense.
It's going to terrorize like I think a lot of decks that either get to exist in like yellow or like I think it's primarily yellow. If you are a yellow deck and you have like let's say 3 Etamons, 3 Valks, you have 6 slots in your techs, you should just be playing Etamon Valk. It's like the best 2-card combo in the game right now, in my opinion.
I think it's a pretty safe bet.
It's 7 memory to sell something to commit to Toaster Bathtub. It's not great.
Armadillo does it.
Sukamon
does it.
Suka does it in archetype, and Numemon does it. 4 Great Dragons can do it if they want to. What else? Like Sylphimon, Sylphimon like Toolbox can just do that instead.
Is Etamon virus?
So many.
I think so, yeah.
So many different ways to like. If you're a yellow deck, you get to exist in the format just because you get the broken 2-card combo. And a lot of decks, it's like, do you have a way out of your 2-card combo? For example, Tyrant, I'm okay. -5. I have Mega Kabu Ace, which, I love that card in the fact that I get for 4 costs, I get to play out a 10k and live the -5 rune mode effect and then still going to Tyrant and do the rest of my stuff. Like, wow, very good. But for some decks, you just fold. Like, how is Imperial supposed to play through that?
Yeah.
You're not. Not without a little help from Uncle Bandai and his friend the ban list.
I guess Imperial would have to be on dragon mode to play around that.
Yeah, but then any other support and setup that it might have had to build around for any other matchups would just get smoked.
Yeah.
So like, it's you change your entire list to tech for 2-card interactions that some Numemons don't even play, which is wild. But yeah, congrats to Huang, legend of the scene, big dude. Subscribe to the Patreon because you like the videos, and I'm sure you can learn more.
Joke maker. Well,
yeah, well, we're of a team of that, but you know, check out the Patreon because you know we stand plug-in reputable and very like worthy contributors to the scene. So check the video out. I think he's got a deck profile out for his excellent first place. But yeah.
Oh, also, I think like if you compare this pie chart to like this, I think like the US event is sort of like the cold, harsh reality of like what the format is going to end up looking like long term. If you look at the Oceania event, that's like, you know, the grass is green, people are having fun, there's like new decks, it's so cool, you know. And then you look at this, it's like, oh, it's just Nume.
Yeah,
it's
pretty dire.
But yeah, have a quick look at the Oceania stuff. Like, there's some like, you know.
Yeah, there's Numemon still wins, but there's Imperial, Fenrir, Red Hybrid, Bugs. Like it looked like an actual format. Let me drop that link in the chat for you, Andrew. But yeah, really neat.
Look at that.
Oh, what a healthy pie chart.
Yeah, with
that's what
decks.
People think the format is going to be like.
We'll see. I remain apprehensive. I've heard different things about like Oceania's meta reports and product scarcity contributing to lacks of certain card rarities and things like that. But like,
you think that would make Numemon more powerful though, right? Because
but they didn't have RB1.
Right, I see.
Yeah, so there were product scarcity issues with the Monzemon.
Right.
So it is what it is.
Do you think you could do like a run on Numemon using like the Armor Purge Monzai to just like?
I will raise you this. I think
like
with the exception of the mirror match where the RB1 Monze is the most important card in the deck, I think most matchups could be like you could completely blindside people by having an Armor Purge Monze.
The guy that was at the Evo
some
Cup,
people would just die.
Yeah, the guy that was on the Evo Cup was on the Monze, the Armor Monze.
Yeah, I was about to say it was weird to see Armor Purge Monze. I don't think I've seen that since Numemon first came out.
It's not a bad card. It's just that like the Warrior Monze, they're just really good.
They will play it when like if Ukos get shot and like Numemon exists as this like this weird like combo
intended archetype.
Yeah, intended archetype, maybe going to like chaos, do something quirky. You want to play the Armor Purge Monzai, but for now you don't have a reason to.
Yeah, we'll have to see as well. I would love to see them like I saw somebody talking about like, you know, a Mastamon could be cool spitting out level 5 yellow Digimon, but like no, like even prepping an Armor Purge Digimon that can stick its own source underneath is not good enough. So we'll have to see. You've heard 1,001 takes, presumably among your own testing groups and all of that, about like who knows what's going on with ban lists, and everyone thinks they have it figured out, but only we do it on microphone for a live studio audience.
We have the sauce.
We have the sauce.
For this week, the sauce is Balfey's Mill.
Yeah.
The sauce of Balfey Sleepsbuild and Balfey Red Bull.
It's so true.
Friendship wins.
I think we've got time to go over one more list from this event, and then I would like to cover some Eastern format events, and then maybe got segments. So if you guys, what would we rather talk about? I'll poll the room here. I know the three of you have conflicting feelings on, like, let's be honest here, boys. It's what flavor of blue do we want to look at? I would like to posit that I think the two most interesting lists come out of the rest of the Play TCG regionals were a blue flare list and an all force list.
All force.
So which pillar are we taking?
I'll do all force.
We're going back to Huang's channel.
Yes, 9th place, Martin Lee's all force list. If you've not seen the video on that, we'll go over that here. But again, go ahead and check out the video. All force, pretty dope.
This one actually loaded as a video. Okay.
Huh, that's nice.
Did you get the name instead of the deck? I never mind.
Who knows?
All right. Well, we're the Eggman builder now.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Also, cool that he has a deck builder now. I think the numbers look ugly, but plain text is always very useful.
Shout out to Eggman, kind of a legend. There's some things that you might have seen in some all force builds that are more or less popular. We've seen the return of Matt and Sora down at the bottom that I think is really neat.
And it's not even using it for ADP. Is it just using it for the bounce?
Extra memory and bounce.
Yeah, the memory is really important for your combo.
And like the fact that it's like the bounce just comes up because it lets you clean up like stragglers. I think like the most interesting thing about like the whole list is like the Daiken and the way that like the list goes about using Daiken as a sort of like advantage engine.
Yeah, Daiken to play free VMons to basically present threats and searches pretty much at no cost is pretty sweet. And
also,
then there's the gold Digimon.
It's also the fact that like more than half of your fours. Actually, how many fours was this list running?
It was running 6. Sorry, it was running 10 fours. It was running 4 Digimon, 4 gold Digimon, and 2 Lanamon.
And like 80% of your fours are armors, right? And they're armors that have incredibly powerful when digivolving effects, which means that with the Daiken, you play out of Emon, and then you just evo over it. You get some filter, and then you also get to clear things, which in All-Force typically like a deck that people confused to be like an OTK setup deck. This list is just like, I played the board.
Yep. At no cost. Like the free VMon turning into almost all of these tools is incredible. Like if you think that's annoying, the first time I'd seen somebody resolve a free warp VMon, then warp into All-Force, all for like the 3 memory it costs in total is disturbed. Like it's a template
something in play.
Yeah, you're just like goodbye. Pretty crazy. I'm a big fan. But I would love to highlight the specific interaction that I was pointed out when I was first put onto this list. I think it was amazing, which is the gold Digimon and its interaction with Rina. I've already told the 3 folks here in this call with me. But if you guys have not seen it or you have not seen the video, again, go watch the video on Huang Zero's channel. But gold Digimon sure is called Digimon, and Rina says when a Digimon is suspended, you can activate its Wind Digivolve effects. So along comes Paildramon, and Paildramon reads, I will suspend all of your opponent's Digimon with fewer sources, and do a little Rosemon Burst Mode cosplay, and stun things. And then as the gold Digimon goes sideways, you shrink it, and then you prevent it from playing. So it's a really crazy interaction. Yeah, it's a really crazy interaction that punishes Imperial. It's a really neat meta read on the idea that Imperial was going to convert. It was expected to do so. So I'm sure that this, I don't believe we have the matchups.
As someone who has stopped an event with Gold V, I can vouch this card is phenomenal against Nume.
Yeah, minus things down to 2K. Goodbye. How many Numemons are smaller than 3? It's all of them except the police one.
Even the police one is 2K.
Wow.
Yeah, let's say there's no Numemon that's bigger than 2K.
Is Nume X 3K?
Nume X is 2K.
Oh yeah, just snipe the little guy.
Yeah, so literally every level 3 or lower gets popped apart from the Chikori one.
Perfect. I'm seeing we've got people going off in chat, so I was scratching up. I think it's pretty sweet. There's a little other like spices of interesting tech and stuff. The Davis triggering for free type. This is like the armor Davis, people like to call it. Yeah. But extra memory, again, like Marcio had said, that like you get to pretty consistently see value out of generating memory. In All-Force, the Matt and Sora does the same thing. And then lastly, there's Magnamon and Magnamon X. Magnamon really is a just like, well, I guess you get sometimes insecurity. Yeah, why not have Chikarimons? But it is an alternate condition to making a really defensive level 6.
It's also like it's one of the few security bombs that really helps against things like Mirage, because like you get to de-digivolve the burst mode, and then rarely do they have the second one, much less like the setup for it. And this way you at least maybe don't get OTK'd back.
This Magna also will resolve its de-digivolve effect prior to Magnamon X on your opponent's turn, activating any of its when digivolving trigger via a security card being removed. So this is another really great way, presuming that they've not used a blinding ray or something like that. This is a really great way for you to pretty consistently go like, no, you shall not play. Take your secret rare home with you. But that's kind of where we're at for the All-Force list. Again, like congratulations to Martin Lee, pretty sweet. You hear a lot of people talk about like who really reps their decks and who takes it to events and stuff. And
he is Rena's strongest soldier.
Yeah, he is Rena's strongest soldier. So just
Jambo TCG wishes.
Yeah, Godfish Jambo,
aka Tamer Jambo.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Belated happy birthday. I will say one thing about the Magna as well, or like the armors going over the free Vmon that's really interesting is if you're fine with that Vmon just getting sacked out, it does mean that if you evolve over it, you're just getting your armor back for the next turn.
Yeah.
And the Magna, if you're just like, no, I'm just gonna throw a Vmon out there, man, it'd be really unfortunate if now there was a target in my security that I'm then gonna get back and abuse next turn. That would be really unfortunate.
And this isn't even like people sort of like theorized an All-Force like version of the deck that was sort of using like Breath of Gods with All-Force X to sort of like when you reboot on the opponent's turn, you'd be able to bounce the Magna because you're now unaffected. And this is doing like all of this without that, right? Like this is like its own like this is like a mid-rangey list basically.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Again, congrats to Martin. But that pretty much wraps up the coverage for the PlayTCG Regional. We might get a chance to go over OC in a little bit more depth, but I feel like this is the one everyone was really excited about. Well, everyone was really aware of, and maybe excited is the wrong word.
We have a few more BT16 events.
Yeah, if we want to talk 16, we got a couple more weeks to talk 16, and I don't think they will all be 8s out of like 50% talk at New Memon. We will probably have a little bit more counter meta built in.
One last thing though, why did Magnamon Digivolve 1 Digimon does not specify which Digimon? I learned this week that it can you can Digivolve your own stack to give to armor texture out of security basically.
That's like why it was cool.
No, I just was leaving Vmons on the field like, check my security, see what happens.
And no.
Also,
way.
because de-digivolving
Digimon got good.
No, de-digivolving them is also just incredible removal because it's de-digivolve them, then battle, then if they live, then, tell them to piss off.
But
this is why. Oh my god, we tested how many Deva games?
Yeah, I never did digivolve myself once.
The reason it's bad is because if a Deva swings, even if all your armors have been rushing me and are sideways, because I didn't have a way to counter timing them all, you just de-digivolve one of your armors and bounce.
No, I would just de-digivolve the Deva, lol.
Anyway,
Die in battle. Die in battle.
That's my podcaster. That's my podcaster right there. Yeah. That's my YouTube shortest.
He did beat the caster allegations. Yeah. I will not hear the slander. He gets 1 week where I'll go to bat. He has to get second place at another event for me to stick up next week.
Well, unfortunately, there are no events, so my immunity is running out.
Read between the lines, chat room. Fellas, I would like to then highlight an event over in the Eastern format. BT17 came to a close this last Friday. The release of EX7 dropped, and thanks to our good folks over at Digimon Card Meta, make sure you follow them. The Twitter account is Card Digimon Meta. It's really easy to find it. We have a couple. I want to talk about 2 archetypes here. I want to talk about Dexter Goromon and a green top end for New Memon. And both of these are really cool. So this is Kurova. You find him on Twitter as Kurova1990, they've introduced themselves. I didn't know their name was Clarence, but their name is Clarence, and they've used that in the article. So thank you, Clarence. If you see this by anyone showing the video, we appreciate you. Clarence was the winner of the recent Asia Open. There's the Grand Asia Open Singapore qualifiers. This is the biggest event of the BT17 format over in the Eastern format. It is certainly, I would imagine, the biggest format Singapore will get, I would imagine in 2024, unless the attendance gets pretty crazy towards the end. But next year's Nats will probably be their biggest overall event, but we will see. But Clarence got BT17. This was like a week before the format ended. So they went 10-0. I would like to remind you, in case people think that that's, for whatever judgment you might make, they play best of 1 format in Eastern format. So this was like a 10 unbeaten.
Wait,
there were no losses throughout the day.
Unless I'm misreading the tweet, or is this them showing a different tweet? Because this tweet says,
scroll down. Scroll down.
Okay.
So those are previous. You're reading an article and not reading his write-up. These are his previous wins.
I see.
If you scroll down to GAO 2024.
Yep.
It'll say that as like a big header. These are the beginning of the write-up. So the Kurova
Singapore Asia Open.
That's correct. The Grand Asia Open Singapore qualifiers, or Jingapore. Good work. He played Dexter Goromon. If you click the image there on the scroll down one more, the next image down. If you click that image, you'll get the Digimon meta page for it with all of the ratios and everything like that. So you can go over a little quicker. If you aren't familiar with Dexter Goromon, this is the final form of the SOC Collision Good Stuff toolbox. It plays a lot with this happens to be a Lugamon base using a purple Balmon.
Yeah, it plays no Dorumons.
There are no Dorumons.
Doo-doo stinky bad card, as I learned.
But the idea here is that essentially, if you've not read them, the Digimon in the Dorumon line here, so Dorugamon and Dorugreymon and Dorugoramon all have Dex forms that get printed that happen to be SOC tagged this time, unlike the BT9 ones that you've not seen. So the BT17, again, the reason that this deck is probably not going to top in 16, but probably will top in 17, is these new cards. They're incredible. All of them have a trash effect all turns when a corresponding, so for Dorugamon, it's Dex Dorugamon. For Dorugray, it's Dex Dorugray, and so on. When it would be deleted, you may Digivolve that Digimon into this card in the trash without paying the cost and prevent the deletion. So it is this really sticky, really good at fighting for board, powerful black-purple pile. And pile is probably a little generous.
The main thing is that, like, I want to highlight because, you know, my roommate is, you know,
Mr.
the X-Antibody, whatever guy, you know. The main thing is that, like, the Dex forms, like, it would be like when you would be deleted by battle, right? And this is supposed to cover Dorumon's, like, already, like, sort of like protection, which is like,
it's not by battle, it's just deletion.
Sorry, just deletion.
Yeah.
Which is meant to cover Dorumon's, like, full protection that he gets, which is everything but deletion in battle, right? So the Dex cards are meant to basically, like, give you, like, pretty much, like, you cannot be removed. And then not only that, but they also solve the next issue of actually being able to push for damage, because you get to do the trap that the deck wants you to do. You know, you taunt something, Dorugreymon going to Dorugora, whatever, blah blah blah. You kill stuff, but the deck, like, struggled for damage a little bit, and the Dex Dorugreymon just fixes all of that.
Yeah, it's an incredible card. If you've not read it, we can pick that up really quick. It is, again, trash all turns when Dorugoramon would be deleted. Digivolve it into this Digimon from the trash without paying the cost and prevent that deletion. And then it is when Digivolving, Digivolve 3, 1 poor SOB on your opponent's field.
No, I'm talking about the Dorugreymon. First, the Dorugreymon.
Oh, we can go over the Dorugreymon? Sure.
The end of attack?
Oh, this card, yeah, that card's bananas. Yeah. It is choose one of your Digimon, delete that Digimon, and a Digimon with equal or lower level than your opponent. So you can then trigger your own. Yeah. And go into the level 6, which I said is Digivolve 3, one of your opponent's Digimon, then delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level, which is crazy. And then it's when another Digimon is deleted, you may unsuspend. So you get all your advantage, you can press your damage really effectively. And finally, we have consistent damage lines. But also, the deck is super purple, super play from trash heavy now.
Fang.
So may as well play Aegis, Demon Wolf, Castle of the Nine Wolves, some Analog Youths for some spice and salt, and get everything in there. And basically, this is where Fenrir is a purple OTK deck, a purple BT9 deck. This is like, I've seen a lot of people online describe this as like the closest purple has gotten to like a real BWG experience, where they get their or BWGX, like peak BT11 BWGX. But the idea is like they get on the field and you're cooked, because you can't play around the trap, you can't beat the lock that they're setting up, and they press really aggressive damage. So the deck is really cool. It had to have done something right for them to go 10-0 on the day. The Singapore Open was a super contested event. Pretty much, I mean, all of the Asia Open's qualifying events are really competitive, because this is how they nominate folks to play for nationals and international tournament, but it's a huge thing. But yeah, like the little bumps in quality that it has received different sets at a time. One card I'd like to highlight here that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet is the Balmon from BT17. The original Balmon's cool because you know it's the one from Fenrir that you see. It's like when a card gets trashed, you evolve into the crit. But the Balmon is crazy easy. It's when an effect places tamer cards, Mind Link. This Digimon may Digivolve into an SOC trait from the trash. So it's so good. If your opponent will not trigger your protection or your like floating zombie carcass in the trash, you can just do this. So if you've got the Dorugoramon in there already and you just want to go up to the 6th, you can do it that way if you have to. You can go that into the sorry, I almost said 7 because Dex Dorugoramon in my head feels like a 7.
No,
you go into the 6 basically on your own trigger, and it costs 2, so it's really amazing. The whole trigger is that you start a main Mind Link and then go into the full setup, be in your taunt, and pop off. So
it's so many like little things where like you play right now. You try to play BT16, Dorgormon, and you either have to play like the old support, or you basically have to like half mash it with like Fenrir, and you still have like a ton of issues.
Mhm.
Every issue that the deck had was like fixed with the second wave of support. It took them 3 waves to like get Alpha to be like, you know, the thing that it was. This
Yeah.
was done in 2.
Yep, it's incredible. And then this is also coincidentally one of the more pretty, like, I would say consistent abusers of Purple's new Scramble card.
Mhm.
You've not had a chance to interact with that. Start a main from the Lugamon to get a Scramble, like getting an AG in play, or Cracker Fang, who is still tagged as AG. Just means that you have so much more access to your discard pile and your trash, and adding things back to your hand to set everything up is crazy too.
So it's also that like the thing with this deck is that like a lot of the times, if you play against it, it doesn't have to like push damage to win the game. In a way where like sometimes if you somehow board clear them, all they really have to do is like set up the taunt into the Greymon, and they're back to winning board. Scramble makes that so much easier
Yeah.
because you just play out, you know, your rookie, stack whatever you want, evolve, well, Mind Link, evolve, taunt something, go into your 5, and then on the opponent's turn, you're basically forcing them to play the minigame.
Yep. Scramble is also a free alliance body, which is pretty wild.
Yes.
All of the AGs provide you alliance, which means that you're pressing, you know, it's typically 1 to 2,000 damage. But like
This is like a real
it don't
tempo.
matter when it's an extra security check, right? People pay 1 to 2,000
Yeah.
DP and it's like
This is like-
+1.
This is like a real tempo purple deck where you go, I did my thing, you have to answer my thing. If you don't,
You die.
then I kill you. As opposed to just like, oh, I'm going to loop or I'm going to like OTK. Like it's finally a purple tempo deck. When was the last time we had that? Plutomon?
Yeah, pretty
Chaos
much.
Galamon?
What do you think, Balf? I know you're a Fenrir enjoyer. You seeing anything here that you feel like,
I mean-
wow, we got some pieces to play with?
Like Dexter Moment, it's a deck in BT17 that I was looking forward to playing because black and purple, best colours for me. I just love big blockers, love big swing. It's just everything.
Collision is a hell of a keyword too.
Collision is just ice wing. You will block with something, you will die. I'm very much looking forward to when we get Machine Dramon Collision.
Oh my god.
Lordy.
We actually get the Inheritable 4.
Big of my goat
Yeah.
Trailmon.
If you guys, if you don't know what Balfey is referencing, we can make sure that that's cool. Because if you're going to hear it from Machine Dramon guy,
Really quick. Also, purple should not have the Digivolve. Like the Digivolve should be locked for black.
They've done it twice this year as well. They give it to Beelzemon before.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And Leo. Like the fact that
God,
you're
yeah.
giving
Are there
all the
two
random
Trailmons?
decks.
Yeah. But you need the new one that is Collision from.
They both give Collision.
Oh,
Not
That's a level 4 though. You don't use that one. You
Not
use
these cards. These cards are cool for Collision. I'm talking like further in the future.
There's a Locomon, Andrew.
It's the Loco.
Oh, my bad.
It's the new. I think it's like BT18 EX6 or something.
There you
like.
go.
Yeah.
17.
Yeah, where it's a new Gigadramon. We get it's like a 3 Musketeer.
Oh yeah, there is also the Gigadramon. That is correct.
Yeah. So that is just level 5 inheritable Collision.
Yeah, if you don't know about that and the synergy with it, there's a Metal Greymon from like ST1 or BT1 even, that is when a Digimon is blocked or when an attack is blocked, you gain 3 memory. So it is a collision memory printer. It's pretty wild. You can pick the 2 up with the Chaos Dramon.
Yeah, you do that. You do print 3 memory, you get Collision, you get Rapidmon, Metal Tyrannomon to track top 2 security, and then you just get Reboot, and then it's just do that every turn.
Also, you get there's the Royal Base level 5s. They also have that ESS.
Yeah. The Royal Bees are all sideboard. That I think most of them. One of them does have another security check, so you could trash top 3 security.
I think both the
Yeah.
5s burn.
No, both of the 5s.
They both burn, I believe.
There is
yeah.
a hellish landscape where you're on Collision
Even
and
better.
3
Yeah,
burns.
you could run. There will be 4 level 5 green-black cyborgs that give you a security burn.
So what you can do is get 4 memory, have Supreme, play Machine Dramon out for 4.
Yep.
Or play give it Blitz, give it Rush, and then play Chaos Dramon for 1. Get everything back. So it's possible to
Finally, you might have a good second matchup.
One swing, block hit, trash 5 security, and give me 3 memory.
Yeah, speaking of trash 5
Fellas,
security.
I'm not gonna lie. I will have to be building Machine Dramon if it burns that much security.
But what about
Okay,
Susan?
This card's
Tom?
peak.
This individual card is so cool, and I have no
Very
idea
quickly,
what
we're talking about Susano Ace. Rest in peace, Spotify listeners.
Yeah, Susanamon Ace, very cool. It's individually really dope, but the deck is Lamau. But
No.
baby,
Can you hear that? Is that the Frontiers opening playing? Am I role playing? Yes, sir. Who wants to role play? This guy. I love role playing.
I hope it's a cheap enough secret. Is this the first secret Ace? Because the Balestar X antibody is not a secret Ace.
Paladin?
It's just a regular.
No, he's an
The
SR.
Paladin mode's an SR. Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably
that's secret Ace.
Yeah. So Godspeed, Marcio.
Just saying, I think Susanomon is cooler than Omnimon, and I will say it.
Agreed.
because Why use sword and gun when you have fists? I'm crossing my arms.
Yeah, I mean, Susanomon has gun, but it's more a bazooka. Right?
Yeah, he's got a bazooka and a sword.
I'll remember that we spent time talking about Susanamon and not when Blue Hybrid hits you 19 times in one turn.
Okay, the gun is like secondary, guys. Like whatever. The gun is like short. No, he punches guys. You know, like fists.
Yeah,
Like
I really
both
look forward to shut up.
No.
I really look forward to someone setting up for like Susan and then just like, I have 4 Congos in hand. You will not resolve that effect. Piss off.
Oh, Susan, Hades, Giga. There are so many ways to just kill the children.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
But I will be role playing.
Yeah. Listen, it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. I was there for 4 Great Dragons to try and get that gimmick off. I'll try Susanomon.
Balfey.
Love me my old Winchons.
Balfey, I'm so glad we got you on the show, man, because I also think about as highly as this Susanamon as I do about 4 Great Dragons. I think they're about as good as each other.
Hey, I mean, Goldramon's really cool. When Terry is looping Goldramon X and recovering most of his deck, it does look really cool.
When Terry's making tokens and killing people, very epic. When he's going into the shitty Goldramon from EX whatever, it's just like...
EX3 to burn 3? Woohoo.
Well, no, it's like, because you don't have all the good names. His defense is like he likes getting pieces back, which is very valid. However, why add pieces back when you can just mark them with tokens?
Yeah, I mean, Diaboromon does look pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, Diaboromon's my EX6 baby. And with
You belong to the streets, Balfey. Okay?
What do you mean?
How many decks are you excited for?
I'm excited for black face, y'all. Anything black, anything that just said. Listen, Diaboromon is favorite Digimon of all time. All right.
Yeah, you're gonna cook with that deck. It's so crazy.
That's just gonna be there. I'm gonna get screwed by Rapidmon X again. I'm gonna go back to Apoxlymon, and then I'll go to 7 Deadly Sins. All right. I'll have my little day with Diaboromon, get cooked, and then have to go to the darts.
But BT16, I can't wait for Balfey to be the guy that's actually on 4 clock of the end. He's like,
Johnny will just kill people. No,
Johnny won't kill people.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll have 55 tokens.
Listen, I can't wait for someone to ace Omnimon and just point to Armageddonmon and just go.
No
level 7s.
Oh dear.
That video, by the way, left like a lot of people thinking that like it's going to be like that. You do know that like they can just raid into the Armageddonmon, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's rough now. It was our protagonist. Sure. Most of it's like hyped up like.
No, to be fair, I think it's pretty accurate. I think there will be a lot of Omnimon players that will not read and go, wait, it blocks all my level 7s? Oh word, my bad, I didn't know. And then next turn go into Omnimon. Time to wait. It does what?
However, enjoy beating Omnimon. However, Paladin you are cooked.
Yeah, I mean, just like in the movie, innit?
Yeah. Just like in the movie.
We can't keep bringing Paladin mode up on every show, guys.
I mean, BT16 Paladin mod goes hard. Like that's cooking a format there.
Speaking of oppressive nightmare cards, I'm not sure why they printed. I would love to also talk quickly about the runner-up to the Asia Open. I've dropped the link in our chat here. This is Slicks183, one of the former Singapore national champions, pretty well-known player over in the Eastern Circuit, and pretty well-respected, particularly for purple stuff. But with an interesting Numemon build, because if you thought we were done talking about Numemon, I can't believe you still watch the podcast. This is a green top end to Numemon, and the intent for this is that it is essentially a like counter meta response to beat the crap out of the blocker decks, the like chump block and like wide enough defensive utility decks that you would normally need an out to in Numemon. Quartzmon just lets you circumnavigate the whole situation. So the idea is pretty straightforward. You make a Monzemon, you protoform into a Rapidmon X. You can then suspend all their stuff, shrink some DP, gain some memory if you need to. And then you go into Quartz and suspend the Tamers, and then you're getting even more memory from that. So all of the Louis, all of the Digimon Emperors, any spare Ukomons lying around, all of the Slugs, all contribute to memory and security burn. So this list is the runner-up. It only lost to Clarence's Dexter-Goromon that we just took a look at. A lot of people would probably attribute that to a decision here that Slick's made, which is that there are no ace cards. If you've seen a lot of Ukomon BT17 lists, we've covered a couple here on the channel. There are no aces here. That's partly because best of one format. You can have your opponent spend all day psyching themselves out about ace cards, and best of one, like, will I get sacked by, Anjouamon or something. Like it could be a million possible variations.
Smile.
Yeah,
Shout out to
exactly.
my goat mini kill bubbling again due to not watching any Digimon content. You should actually watch the game. Please watch content.
Yeah, it would help. But yeah, there's also all the angels and stuff too. So come BT17, there's a lot of things that you could risk swinging into as an ace.
Or you digivolve it with Dorogorobot, and then you don't care.
That is also true. So yeah, pretty cool. I wanted to specifically highlight this because there were like occasional pickups on like, Rapidmon is an interesting inclusion for a Numemon deck. This deck already frequently played protoforms to go into things like Waru Monzemon, Monzemon X Antibody, I don't think I've ever seen anyone Numemon X Antibody protoform climb, but it's an option there for them. So it gives you a lot of really interesting like approaches that you can take. There's still a lot of the regular toolbox stuff that you'd expect. One of the dumb things this deck does is if you get a floating into Platinum Numemon and it takes 2 memory, you can make a Quartzmon for essentially like a 7 memory bubble, which is like really gross and dumb because it'll then refund it and do some evil stuff. So it has a lot of cool potential. I would like to see that this is, I've heard a lot of people describe this as like an untested variant of the Numemon stuff in 17. And one of the benefits that we have, we're not going to have it for long. We are coming up to the, we are now 8 months from the anticipated unification of Digimon now. Every day we get closer. But this is probably one of these, like, this is that deck that topped or did well over there that we might not have had a chance to experiment with here in the West if it wasn't for people picking it up over there. So once again, congrats to them. It was a little bit of a late one. The Asia Open was also the 1st of June, so I just wanted to make sure we got a chance to cover all that. Y'all got any questions, any thoughts about BT17 or 16 and how it's all going? It's fun that saying 16 and 17 were the sets we were on at the same time makes it feel closer than it was,
I wish we got 16 for longer.
Yeah, I wish Birmingham. If Birmingham was 16, it would have been probably would have stayed the day. Would have been weekend format. Mm-hmm. It would have been good, but it was just going there. BT15 already burnt out.
Not my choice because of Asmodee.
Asmodee.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for a new format, even if it was only 2 weeks. Then he gets 6 BT17. I'm looking forward to it. I think BT17 is going to be interesting because it's just going to be. I feel it's just speed. Everything's you got Tenkuchi Fenrir.
Yep.
You got the new Garurumon blue build Imperial.
No. Run it back. What the fuck did you call it?
We're not doing this again. You should watch the deck list build, but I caught 5 cards the wrong name in that entire deck build.
It's like an Easter egg hunt.
It's awesome. I love this. That'll be a fun one for the Spotify listeners.
There's like a joke in the Yu-Gi-Oh community that there's this guy called like DB Grinder, and he he's known for like mispronouncing cards. Like he called like Albion the Incandescent Dragon, like he couldn't say that. So he was like, "Oh, Albion the Incensant Dragon" or whatever. It's like Balfey with the same thing. He called what was it? You call
Proto
Gizmon was Protoform. That was a good one.
Karata was a Rata.
I'd say Glick, Wolf Glick is also really bad for that. He's doing it intentionally. Like Deki Dewey is my favorite. Like that's heinous.
But yeah, Tenkaichi. Oh, fuck it.
Not Tenkaichi.
Yo, Tenkaichi. Let's go.
That's a Dragon Ball. Like,
oh no, dude.
Dragon Ball game.
Oh no, dude.
Fuck it. They're contact fusion. It's the same.
Okay, you need to make a YouTube show out of this. Oh my god.
There is a lot of fun stuff coming up, though.
I just think BT17 is very much it's turn 4, you're dead basically, sort of thing.
Yeah, what turn 2? I'm still very upset I was not in the group call when Saf just went, "Oh, I wonder if you're dead," and killed Harry. Turn 2 is like, whoops.
Yeah, I think the best turn 2 I've seen off Vaccine Armor was turn 2, full Rapidettes, full Magnarettes, them at 6 security, me at 2 security, and that was on turn 2 with Yellow Vaccine.
Yeah, suddenly the Balfey Apocalypse really does feel deserved.
Yeah. Listen, I see there's one ulti cup left in BT16 that is online, and it's like now that it's done well in Evo Cup, it's like, do I go do an online ulti cup with this, bring it, and just see how many days I ruin?
Speaking of ruining, gentlemen, I think it's been a little bit, but I think it's time that, we've all been sharing opinions here pretty freely. And if you've been on the show before, you come watch an episode, you catch us live on twitch.tv/KnTElixar, where you can play along yourself. You might have heard of a little thing called memory. These are parentheses, by the way. I'm not like badly praying. I got made fun of for that. That's not what that is. It's parentheses. Or memory gauge. It's welcome to Mem Gauge. Welcome to Mem Gauge. This is a game show that we play here sometimes, where I provide statements here for our live audience and the players here on this call, where we're going to discuss our opinions on certain statements that pertain to the Digimon TCG, such as statements like, there are too many Greymons in the Digimon TCG, or all of the colors are equally balanced. Gosh, shout outs to Orange. That one got away from us a little bit, but we'll see how we do. We now have a reigning champion, shouts to Minikill, who with his presence here today will guide our contestants in participating, because the gimmick here in MemGauge is it's not a chat show. One of these 3 fine contenders, I always did the mirror wrong, one of these 3 fine contenders is lying about what they think of these statements. So, gentlemen, as always, you are going to be getting your instructions here sent to your DMs. I have gone ahead and drawn straws ahead of time, so let me just make sure I've got all of your DMs up at the top. Brilliant. You've all received your instructions.
Oh, hell yeah. I love lying on the internet.
And folks, they're going to be giving a opinion, not necessarily their own, to each of the statements. And it will be each other's jobs and your jobs at home to try and work out via prediction here on Twitch, or just sort of pointing the finger at your contestants here and accusing them blatantly in the chat on who they believe is not being honest. So let's get it started here today, gentlemen. It's been a little while. We have, for the first time in MemGauge, we have a contributing opinion that I want to highlight. Thanks very much to Chaos Uchi, my guy. Appreciate you, pal. For contributing our first take here from MemGauge today. If you have takes, there's a forum. I don't remember. I think it's !M4G takes or !takes. But yeah, we would love to have you send them in. Otherwise, you can find them. Just send them to me. I'm at BTommyNT on Twitter. If nothing else works, just DM me on them. But if you've got opinions, we will put them in the list and get through it. So yeah, welcome back, Joys. So the contributing opinion today from Kawasuchi is: bans make old decks cool. The statement one more time is: bans make old decks cool. Give these guys a minute to think about it. Again, just to remind you all, the folks here on the call with me that your instructions have been in your DMs, not in our podcast chat. Keep your eyes on your DMs for your instructions, and make sure you don't mess the game up live on the internet. We'll go ahead and get our timers up. Andrew, I presume you've got the stream overview timer ready. I've got my personal one to cut y'all off.
Can someone else go first? I'm trying to fix the form.
Yeah, how about we have, for a real refresher here, let's get Balfey going first. The way this works, Balfey, if you've not had to unfortunately resolve this and figure it out on the fly going first, is you're going to get a minute to assess the statement.
It's because my Google Drive filled up. Give me a second.
Okay.
So, we'll let Andrew get a hold of this while he gets it all set up. But you're going to be assessing the statement once again, which is bans make old decks cool. Andrew, are we ready?
Yeah, I can sort this. All right, yes,
Right.
we are ready.
All right, Balfey, your time to assess the statement bans make old decks cool starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
I mean, yeah, bans can make old decks cool just by if something comes up like Jessmon, something came off the ban list, it brought it back a little bit. But I don't know, I feel bans just put more decks out of their misery and made a format a bit better, like the Pokemon. That ban made old decks cool because it made old decks be able to play again. That weren't all a Pokemon. And just makes stuff like that happen. But I don't think it makes old decks cool. If it makes it a bit more relevant, I'm here for it. But I've never seen a ban list personally and gone, wow, I can now play Exo Machinegimon again. And it's a deck that's in there. If I see a ban, it's like, oh, I don't have to face that anymore, which is more so how I feel.
And that's your time. Thank you very much, Balfey. That was Balfey assessing the statement, bans make old decks cool. Let's go from the bottom up. So this time we'll do Marcio. You ready, buddy?
All right, yeah, sure.
All right, your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
I think ban lists make old decks cool if it's exactly for a deck that I like. Because if it's for a deck that I like, my deck deserves it. And it was cool and not cringe. However, it's for a deck that I don't like, then it's very cringe, no riz, and it's bad. Because, for example, let's talk about why is half of the ban list purple cards? Because they're all stupid and broken. Like, oh, do we really want to play Lilith Loop again? Do we want to go through Apocalypse? Do you guys remember Eismon Aggro? That was really cool. But, you know, Sarasmon, I think Sarasmon was cool. You know, like Blossom, it would make Bloom that broken, you know? I think it's fine. Blue Hybrid, whatever. But that's basically it. I think, like, coolness is subjective because what I find cool, you know, somebody else might not find cool, and I'm not gonna yuck anyone's yum. But if you're like, oh yeah, I really wish I had 4 Calling from Darkness back, I would probably say that you need to be institutionalized.
That's your time, pal. That was Marcio assessing the statement, bans make old decks cool. And last but not least, we have Mr. Streamer himself, Andrew. Andrew, you're assessing the statement, bans make old decks cool. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, and so is the form. I just, because we shot 3 deck profiles yesterday, I ran out of Google Drive storage.
I'll give you your countdown. You all set?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
So I don't think that bans make decks cooler because obviously it brings the power down of a deck, which can make a deck that was very consistent less consistent. But I think it also just makes decks more frustrating because we don't really ban things in Digimon. We just limit them to 1. So when they do the cool thing, it's suddenly like oh, I got sacked. When you're playing against a frustrating deck that got nerfed because it's broken, now there's a little bit of hero to it, but it's mostly like they did the annoying thing at full power because they sacked me. And then when a cool deck does its one thing or is sat and raising for 5 turns because like, yeah, I really need this one-off to get hit, it's not really cool for either of you. You're both just sitting there waiting for one of you to find the one-off, and then the game state turns into Mario Party. So I don't think that bans make cool decks any cooler. I think it just makes them a little bit sackier, and that's even more frustrating for the frustrating decks.
It's your time. Alrighty, chat room.
I think I'm flying.
These 3 folks have now responded to the statement, bans make old decks cool. But I want to hear from you guys at home. Which one of them sounds like they were full of shit?
Andrew, you don't think he's a purple player? Of course he wants like bullshit. He like plays Blaze Blue cross tag. All he knows is like Kusoke.
Yeah, I feel like, especially, you know, Andrew liked to play full power Anubismon for quite a bit, and then that got.
I played no full power Anubismon. You take that back. I actively got my 1 and dipped.
Because you're a hipster, you're like, no, I won't win the game my way. Instead, I'll use the BT41 and maybe win the game.
Look, it looks cool. And I resolve Anubis though. When they resolve Anubis, cringe. When I resolve Anubis, very cool.
I'm so talented and skillful and handsome and God's chosen.
While the predictions rolling, I'll remind everybody who might be watching, because we also cast on YouTube, and if you're listening on the podcast, once again, you can play live over at twitch.tv/KnTElixar, where you can join in the predictions. But if you're not in there, give us like a 1, 2, or 3 for who you think was lying or whatever. We just want to see that you're repping. Got some people saying Marcio was the most correct, but was he telling the truth? Liars can sometimes give you just what you want to do.
Baby spitting straight facts and venom.
Always these shoutouts, always plugging out. This YouTuber, all he knows how to do is give shoutouts. Oh my god, just commentate the game, bro.
Yeah.
Josh, Greatness Beam, DHL, Bradley Well.
Just pay the mega tier. Shoutouts to Josh. Shoutouts to Josh here.
Notice how I didn't bring up Doru Greymon, but that's because I like Doru Greymon, because while he can be deleted, he can still be put sideways and punched. So I actually need Doru Greymon to come off the ban list, so he vibe checks all the fake decks, and then I get to just beat up on Alphabond as God intended. Okay.
But if they give you Doru Greymon back, it can't be beat up and punched. It has a Dex Doru Goramon in the trash.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's not even true anymore.
Anyway, he goes into Alpha anyway. There's no Dex Alphamon.
Hey bud.
He's not gonna sit on Doru Greymon.
If they give the security attack inherit back to the SOC Doru Goramon pile, that deck would probably find room for a broken one of like that to go back to 3.
Doesn't matter. Green into black. Also, green into black is not even like a thing anymore. Now I just lose. I need like Tentomon. Like Tentomon is like, start of main phase suspend, and then his gimmick gets turned off.
Speaking of turning off the gimmicks, let's get back to the game show. Have we got the predictions, Andrew?
We do have the predictions. Marcio was all in on me, but I can tell you that 0% of the audience agrees. I am scot-free. Marcio has a crisp 2.2k channel points. Nigh on 100% of the vote on him. And guessed Balfey with a cheeky 10, someone trying to see if they can rob whoever put all those mono coins on Marcio.
Wait, so people think that I was the liar?
Yeah. Do you want to defend yourself here, champ?
I literally said that the ban list only makes cool decks if it's decks that I like. If it's not a deck that I like, then it's cringe.
Yeah, the good old reverse psychology, you know.
Do I play purple, Balfey?
Listen. It's there in you. It's just waiting to come out.
Yeah, I have Medieval Marcio. He does get serial.
Medieval Marcio plays blue. The Bandai's chosen color.
And how much of Garurumon is on the ban list, Evil Marcio?
Well, it's a purple card too.
Who was it here telling the lie?
Wait, Saf was like, I put 2k on you because he's just a hater.
that's so based. Sam's got cooked by ads. That is cringe. Hopefully we do not get cooked. But voting Marcio.
I just like voting Marcio? Yeah. That's such a great call,
haters
actually.
In chat.
I roll a that I lie.
I drew straws for a long time, then I had a web app for it and stuff. But sometimes I actually just straight up roll a d6. And I gotta be honest, even in random chance, Marcio usually is capping.
Yeah, it's based. This time though, he was not capping. It was me. And I mean there we go. What up? Yeah, I was capping. I mean, partially capping. It is kind of annoying when like you get one of Johnny having HPD is a mind-numbing experience when he resolves it turn 2 every time, or he doesn't have it and you hit it in security and you go I lose. But like I do think there is something really fun about interesting Digimon. I've said it on a previous member gauge about high rolling the shit out of someone off of something out of nowhere, and I think as a content creator, as long as you get one-offed on camera, it's peak Digimon. If you get one off camera and come 9th and miss out on your Blitz Omni, it's not funny. But if I get content out of it, bans are fantastic for the game because it's just variance that causes me to have a great time.
BB Tag Plus. Yeah. I literally said, like, I know that Andrew lives for the comedy, and it was so easy.
Once again, thank you very much to guest collaborator Chaos Uchi. You catch him on this one TikTok I saw where he was telling everybody that Japan was the coolest country on earth.
Never let me sleep on my couch again.
But that's it for the first statement. Fellas, let's keep on moving. Your instructions are being sent over now. I pulled the straws. And our statement that you'll all be responding to is the following. When assessing and ranking the best decks in the game, I value longevity and consistency over a peak performance. It's a bit of a wordy one. We'll go a couple times so make sure people have a chance to think about it and give these three folks a chance to really kind of piece their arguments together, get all things in line here. But it's when assessing and ranking the best decks in the game, I value longevity and consistency over a peak performance. So longevity and consistency over peak performance. And that's what makes something a best deck in the game. So give you guys a second here. We're going to start with Andrew this time. We'll go back and forth and up and down and left and right and side to side. For the chat, get ready. I know it's a little bit of a header one here, but remember, you're not listening for what they're saying. And if they say it in a way that isn't something you agree with, you need to work out which one of these folks is lying. And if you just have channel points to burn and think it's funny because you're a hater, I ball at that so much harder than the actual premise of this game show.
It is very funny. However, we do have a game show that is all about burning channel points, and that is Lethal or Living, which will be coming back soon. The DCGO. We'll you should have Shadowplay. Please send me clips for that.
Yep. Alrighty, fellas, you had a chance to think about the statement?
Yeah.
Alrighty, Andrew, let's get started with you. The statement you'll be responding to today is, when assessing and ranking the best decks in the game, I value longevity and consistency over a peak performance. Andrew, your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
I am someone that is definitely known to enjoy Japanese deck building because they love creating piles of 50 that do things with one identity. And in a best of one format, that is sometimes all you need. They actually, like, as much as we do make fun of them, I actually think the way they approach the game and a build for consistency where you have to see everything, because if you don't, you might just, that's your run over. You have to see it. I actually really like the way they do their deck building. I think that consistency pieces, as much as trainings are cringe, are really how, if you're looking at the game from a more competitive mindset, or even just a mid-level mindset, is something that you should focus on as a player. And I think that is more important than the peaks, because you can't reach the peaks if you don't at least have the road up to like the top of the mountain. If you're fighting tooth and nail just to get every little bit of ground, you're probably not going to have a good time so you can enjoy the view at the top. I think that you should aim for a nice, consistent, steady way of playing the game.
That's your time. Thank you, Andrew. That was Andrew responding to the statement, when assessing and ranking the best decks in the game, I value longevity and consistency above peak performance. Marcio, it'll be you up second. You ready, bud?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Marcio, your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
So when I assess the best decks in the game, I think I usually tend to look at the decks that are the most well-positioned for the format. And this sort of reflects on the decks that I tend to play for the format as well. Because I think that, you know, tier lists usually come down to sort of like player perception, in the sense that, like, for example, our test group thinks that like the meta looks this way, but a different test group might think that the meta looks completely different. So especially when I'm picking a deck for the format, I usually tend to pick decks that are the best well positioned and have the best matchups like in the spread. But even then, those decks are not necessarily the best deck of the format. And rarely will I play a best deck in the format because I don't like being targeted. Now, when it comes to peak performance, sometimes decks are just so much better than everything else. For example, Shine in the format, however, it just did not have the consistency. But then sometimes you have the complete opposite, where you have something like Alphamon, which was the most consistent deck.
That's your time. That was Marcio assessing the statement, when assessing and ranking the best decks in the game, I value longevity and consistency over a peak performance. Last but certainly not least, my guy Balfey. You ready to go, pal?
Sure.
All right, bud. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Straight off the bat, I'm a bad Digimon player. How I rank best decks of the format is wildly different. If they can see their pieces and do the thing every time, every game, it's a good deck. For me, I play big purple Wando combos that will never hit off, and when it does, funny. But I will also throw games on stream that you've never seen someone do before. But so for me, if a deck's good, it's generally very speedy, can do its gimmick or do its thing every game with very little to know, like very little like edge case or game plan that you need. You can sort of like just run it through. Mirage, sort of just build up in the back, and then you hit your piece, and then it's just game. Nume, you know what you're looking for. Easy, speed, hit your opponent's security, it's game. So yeah, I think consistency and how often you can do your game-winning combo generally ranks to the top.
Perfect. Almost on the dot. Way to go. That was Balfey responding to the statement, when assessing and ranking the best decks in the game, I value consistency and longevity over a peak performance. Fellas, you've done great. You've assessed the statement correctly, but it's up to the chat room and the viewing audience on Twitch and YouTube to work out which one of you wasn't telling the truth. Because that is the way it works.
It was Andrew again.
I think it was Andrew again.
Man,
Say
this
why?
is some targeted harassment.
I mean, yeah.
Is it because he's a Gemini?
I don't
He's
know.
not a Gemini.
I'm a Virgo.
I'm more of an alpha. I don't believe in alphas and sigmas.
There's just something about that bandana I don't trust.
Yeah, I only listen to Agu males and Gabu males. Anyway, why do you think it's Andrew? Well, we have to chat.
Actually,
Remember,
I'll change that. Actually, I think it's me. I think I was the one lying, by the way.
That's an exciting development and a fun
So
bit.
put channel points on me again.
But for the folks who are playing live, remember to check over on twitch.tv/KnTElixar, where you too could be contributing precious mono coins and griefing your time away. Balfey, what do you think? You got any suspicious players here? Anyone seeming like they're not telling the truth?
I mean, I've
Maybe
been
chance to smoke screen yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I said I'm a bad Digimon player. If I'm lying, I am truthful.
The guy just topped an event. No games dropped. I'm dog shit at Digimon, bro. It's like, huh?
We love a humble king.
He won his whole event. So.
We have videos of the complete opposite of that happening.
True. Balfey, famously an engagement machine.
He's not consistent, just like, you know, how he values the combo purple piles. They're not consistent.
I know, right? I played Fenrir and AJ, and I just...
That deck is like the most whatever.
No, it's only consistent if you don't drop your combos.
Yeah, it's consistent if all 4 AGs are at the bottom of the deck.
Well, don't put him there.
Don't put him there. Don't consistently do that.
Just shuffle. What are you doing?
Listen, this is no lie, but I saw
no cards upside down for you.
you know on Card App it puts the tamers at the back of the profile. You are supposed to shuffle your deck afterwards so that they're not always at the bottom.
Listen, this is no shit. This is no lie, but I'm pretty sure I saw Pokemon more at that Evo Cup than I did see AG at Salford.
I played against Fenrir on my last round.
Yeah, but it wasn't me.
Oh, sure.
We're not here to talk all about region. Yeah. We're not here to talk about regional runs and who's playing 5 of a card in the Digimon card game. We're here to play mem gauges in the room, and there can only be one liar, provided they've done their job.
And once again, the audience thinks it's Marcio. Defend yourself.
Why would I lie about? What did I even say?
Of the vote.
I literally said that I think like the best. I don't play the best decks, and I think the best decks are just like the most consistent ones. I literally said Alphamon. That was just like the best deck, and I always picked decks that had good matchups into the best decks.
Captain said put points on him. Did it? True.
Even like Mirage. Like Mirage was a good deck, but Mirage actually wasn't very consistent. I will say that Mirage was kind of a high rolly doggy deck.
Yeah, sometimes it'd be like that.
This one was impossible for me. What the fuck? How am I supposed to say, yeah, I love consistency? Bruh, I am always gambling. Like, let's go gambling. unironically running Darkness Wave skull emoji on my second place Beelzemon list. Little do they know, it could have been 7 if I had my way.
If you had your way, you would have been at the bottom table.
Yeah, but I've been having a great time. I love just pure chaos in deck building. One ofs go crazy because you will just simply draw them when you. Marcio's one of Gold V, fantastic. It does what it needs to do. Consistency is only useful for like.
So you were lying.
Yeah, I was lying. I was.
Yeah,
35, like in all truth, 35 to 40% of the cards should be real Digimon cards, and then after that, card games are meant to be fun.
I mean, for me, I faced Johnny. Johnny's probably my most played against like test partner, and that man makes one of seems like he's running 5 odds.
You guys,
No, genuinely,
for Bandai.
I wanted to
the
talk
game
about
is fun,
Johnny.
Guys.
I wanted to talk about Johnny, then I realized I was lying, and Johnny is the antithesis of consistency over peaks because he just consistently hits the peaks and makes you seem foolish. So yeah, I couldn't talk about him as much as I desperately wanted to.
Memgage is a fun game to play with you guys because oftentimes I make it really clear that I won't answer questions about the statement, and I snub you guys if you're trying to get more details or anything. But I think it's really fun that you all just sort of ignored the word longevity because like this statement, so the thing here is that this was not the best decks of a format. This is the best decks in the game. So I sort of thought in this statement that y'all would be like, oh no, like, Blue Hybrid is the best deck because it was good for a really long time versus like, oh, BWGX is the best deck. It was the best deck like tier 0. But like, we were like, consistency good.
Well, the thing is like,
I love this game.
I would say like Bloom is like one of the decks that was like
good for
relevant for a long time.
Yep.
And even that deck like had its like shortcomings, and it wasn't because of consistency. Because that deck is like probably one of the most consistent decks that the game had. But then you have something like Yellow Hybrid, which is like a broken meme pile, and that deck pops in and out. So it's like decks are only allowed to be consistently good if the rest of the format lets them be.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but of course, all of the statements are open to your interpretation. That's how Memgage the Room is played. And guys, the game, just like we play with 3 contestants, typically gets played with 3 statements. I'm about to send over your instructions for round 3. Let me just click all of that over now. All right, you should have received your instructions. Check our DMs, not the pod chat, because if you're checking in there, you're going to get it wrong. And fellas, our final statement today is an exciting one. It's a fun one. It's one that I've heard in a couple of different permutations that I've not had a chance to really like whittle away at and get it kind of Memgage ready. But I think we have an interesting case for it here today. The statement reads as follows. The global synchronization of the release schedule should put all groups of players under the same rule set, i.e. best of 1, time schedules, time rule updates, end of turn procedures, end of time procedures. So I can do that one more time. The global synchronization of the release schedule should put all groups of players under the same rule set, best of 1, time rule updates, end of time procedures, etc. Give these guys a chance to think about this one.
Was best of 1 like? Was that?
These are just examples.
Okay, they were just examples. It wasn't like.
Yeah, I wrote bracket. It reads etc.
Right. Okay.
The global synchronization of the release schedule should put all groups of players under the same rule set. Brackets. Best of 1, time rule updates, end of turn procedures. So give these guys a chance to think about it. You've all received your instructions. But the game Memgage the Room is played along here with the viewing audience. If you're here in the YouTube chat or in the Twitch chat, we want to hear from you. Let us know. Is it going to be the hat trick? We haven't had a triple winner in a little while, not since the likes of Minikill and his predicted orange best deck.
Wouldn't that also just require, like, surely it's entirely impossible sometimes for you to be a triple winner?
Who's to say? Maybe you predict among your peers as well. I've been keeping track. None of you ever get it right every time either. But that's besides the point. I think you guys have had enough time to think about your statements. We'll go ahead and start with Balfey again, because we're just kind of up and down and left around. So, Balfey, the statement you'll be responding to is, the global synchronization of the release schedule should put all groups of players under the same rule set. best of one, time rule updates, end of turn procedures, etc.
Mhm.
You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
I mean, yeah, I'd agree. I mean, if all the rules come together as one, everyone's got all the same sets. I mean, it makes sense for everyone to be on the same rules. Rules means there's less errors over like what's happening in Japan, what's happening in America, what's happening over here. Best of one games, if we all have to do it, means more funny decks, like more crazy deck building can be done if you're not having to worry about a second game. If you're just worried about the one surprise or factor, it opens up deck building a little bit. Like rule changes, the Leviathan rule change, if that hits us all at the same time, yeah. It just happens mid-game, mid-tournament. I don't generally mind it. But yeah, I think if all players are playing on the same rule set in regards to everything, it means less communication error. The game, I think, less jargon gets mixed over between sets. And yeah, I'm for it.
That's your time. Thank you, Balfey. That was Balfey responding to the statement: the global synchronization of the release schedule should put all groups of players under the same rule set, like best of one, time rule updates, end of time procedures, etc. Marcio, you ready to go?
Sure.
All right, your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
So I think that the unification of the game will not unify all of the rule sets, and that's because there's a few other factors that sort of artificially separate the two regions. Now, I think some aspects of the game will be the same. For example, rulings. We will no longer have cards that interact differently based on which side of the globe you are. But there are some factors that you simply cannot change because of sort of the culture. What I mean by this is that in Japan, the reason why they play best of one is because between a worker finishing work and going to the card shop and then the card shop's closing time, the shops are usually only open for about 2 to 3 more hours after the working day. So they only have enough time to fit in best of ones. However, best of ones in the West, that simply just won't really be happening. I think that things like rulings and sort of card releases and things like that will be unified, but things like, best of one, not.
Alrighty, that was Marcia responding to the statement: the global synchronization of the release schedule should put all groups of players under the same rule set. Best of ones, time rule updates, end of time procedures, etc. Andrew, last but not least, we're going to wrap up with you. You ready to go?
Yep.
All right, your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm kind of on the similar vein to Marcia, where I think that the unification of the game is going to get a lot of us on the same rules, but things like best of 3 versus best of 1 may be down to regional preference or regional specification. I think when it comes to big tournaments where you don't have the salaryman and the shop closing as a factor, I think the unification of the game will also be the standardization of best of 3 at prize events. But when it comes to, you're going to your hobby league, it comes down to TO discretion, things like that. But the rest of the rules in terms of making sure we don't have a situation like with EX5 Nats, where people didn't know whether Galaxy Loop was banned until 2 days or 2 weeks before the event, things like that. I think the unification of the game will be their way of making sure that all of the promos come out at the same time, all of the rule updates come out at the same time. There's no confusion about how the game is played depending on what region you're in. It just comes down to alt formats and prize support.
That's your time. That was Andrew responding to the statement: the global synchronization of the release schedule should put all groups of players under the same rule set, i.e. best of one, time rule updates, end of time procedures. But that's their 3 pitching in their ideas, sprinkling in some takes like you do here on MemGauge. But like you guys do here on MemGauge, we need you to predict. We need to know who it was that you think was not being 100% honest with you. Was Andrew right that will singularly affect hobby leagues but not affect the actual tournament environment? Is Marcia right that it's just culturally not going to float? Or is Balfey right that it probably will actually stick because it's better for Bandai to just enforce consistency? We'll have to see how it goes.
In One Piece does best of one, doesn't it, over here?
Sure does.
Yes, I think it's best of one globally.
It is best of one in
What
One
about
Piece,
Dragon Ball?
From when I used to play, used to be best of 3, but now it might be best of.
I don't know, because I haven't played Fusion World. I played like the old game. That was best of 3, but
And then Vanguard is best of 1 too, and that's like a Western best of 1
Vanguard's
as
best
well.
of 3. Unless it's
No, Vanguard's
changed.
best of 1.
How long has it been best of 1? Because it wasn't best of 1 at the start.
As far as I know, it's best of 1. You get double crit, you lose, bro.
Classic. But let's get those audience participations in. One more time. If you're watching here on YouTube live as we're recording, you can head over to twitch.tv/KnTElixar. You can check it out. Use your valuable mono coins. If you click follow, you get like 600 for free. And with 600, you could influence a vote if you haven't already. It'd be funny. You see how Marcio reacts when people put 2K on him. Imagine if it was 4K. How funny would that be?
Andrew's again.
And then once again, if you are watching live, or sorry, not watching live, perhaps you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we usually go on, this is a funny one because we're live on a Sunday, but it's fine. We're typically live 7 p.m. Saturday time, 7 p.m. UK GMT. It's like the summertime here in the UK. You can come check it out live and watch on Twitch and play with your mono coins. Again, following is 600 for free, which is pretty sweet.
I think it's 300, but close enough.
Is it 300?
I think so. I think 600 is if you use your Twitch Prime that you get free with Amazon Student or Amazon Prime.
Must have been what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Must have been what I was thinking of.
Shout out to all the Digi Eggs. Sometimes I try and shout you out when people aren't complaining that people are supporting the channel. You know, I do my best.
Bro, just start including the list. Actually, don't even make deck profiles anymore. That's the new one.
But that concludes the what's it called? The collection of data. Andrew, what are the people at home saying?
Okay, what are the people at home saying? They are, for the 3rd time running, thinking that my man Marcio is capping.
I'm just disappointing at this point. Like, these have been some of the most like truthful statements I've ever said on the internet, and people are calling me a liar. This is what happens when you lie a little bit too much. This is like the wolf and the village story, you know, whatever. Yeah. I'm feeling it right now. I resonate with that kid.
But you were actually lying this time, right?
No.
It was me. Like hell do I want best of 1 formats. I don't want to get cooked in 3 minutes and having to sit there head in hand. I do think, like I said, I agree with like some of the rules going over, like rule changes, ban lists, and like merging and everything. But I don't see Digimon becoming a best of 1 format. With stuff like Setcar and everything, the difference are like ways you can play. You'd either be over in 2 minutes or you'll be over in 45 minutes. And that just being a best of 1 game doesn't really feel right.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting one because the clarification on should, like, obviously Tom used best of 1 as like the example, probably just to instigate. But I was like, yeah, it's possible that we get rule updates, but I feel like Japan would be more likely to end up on a best of 3 format, even if like Marcia said that it's really short. They might just end up in like best of 3 lightning round, like how we play our 4th round pretty quick. They might be on like that 35 minutes, or like 35 minutes best of 3, like demon vibe to try and get their rounds done. Or like, you know, they standardize it for big events and then hobby leagues come down to whatever. So I thought it was like his take on like most of the stuff will probably carry over. I think it was a really interesting one. Also, Japan just straight up don't know how to do best of 3. Like, the Worlds should...
Some games do it. It's really weird.
But Digimon specifically does it terribly. Like, Worlds was...
Yeah, it was best of 3.
Like, it was best of 3,
End of time procedures got me messed up.
Yeah, those end of time procedures were just straight up just not correct. I was like, so you're telling me because we timed out with a 1-game lead, we're doing tiebreaker procedures, which then give us a game 3 that was completely avoidable.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Deadass Grand Finals, by the way, like, oh no, the One Piece event was going to be slightly delayed. Well, maybe if Sekon wasn't, you know.
Hey, I'll hear no Peter slander. Magna Honda a 1, but he can go to 4 in my heart.
I'm looking forward to Seraphri Ace though when that thing comes out.
Oh dear God. Balfey, no. We're wrapping up the show in a minute. We can't. The reason that I don't play Memgage with you guys is because I won't participate in bad takes.
Listen, I'm not playing it, all right?
Okay.
When have you ever seen me play Yellow?
That is a good point.
Yeah,
that is a good point.
Facts.
Never say never. I watched Marcio win a Blitz Omni-Mon.
In fairness, when Saf and Johnny were around mine, they were leaving, and Saf was just like next to me like a guy in the trench coat at the park, like, listen, do you want to play a bit of yellow vaccine? Like, first one's free.
It's
like,
so funny.
Handing me the yellow vaccine deck.
Dude,
that was him like a month ago, though.
Yeah.
Like, they peddled him onto the deck.
Like, when we were doing all of, like, the proxy testing, I was like, why does Saf not have Patamons? Why are you still having to proxy BT? I was like, have you ever seen Saf resolve a yellow card before today? And it's like, no. He doesn't own Patamons. He just gave them away because he's like, why would I ever need this?
For real.
Yeah.
And in a perfect world, when that card gets restricted, he'll stop playing the deck too. But that's Memgage the Room. One more time to remind everybody at home, it's M4G Takes, !M4G Takes here. There's a form. Andrew can probably put it in the description of the video that this gets edited into individually. Please send over your input. We want to hear more about your opinions, your hot takes. We're looking for statements, but if you're having a little trouble editorializing it, send it my way. I'll run it past you and make sure it's all good. And once again, thanks to Chaosuchi for the first one that we've had here guest on the show. Pretty tight, pretty cool, and what a good guy.
Yeah. Lethal Living should be back next week. So if you've been on the DCGO and you've been getting oh so close to having lethal or murdering someone into the sun, please have Shadowplay or Metal.tv enabled and please send me clips to M4G clips.
That's correct.
Clips from the stream, to be fair.
Yeah, also
Like,
clips. Just if you're watching other people do it, Twitch clip them as well. We're more than happy to shout out other creators. I just desperately need to not be in the trenches finding my own clips. BT16's live. Everyone's playing. Digimon is frolicking. Send me clips, please.
Digimon
Also,
is Tenkaichi, you know?
I heard it was Tenkuchi, actually.
Tenkuchi.
Just to really make sure that we're crystal on that one, it was Tenkuchi.
No,
It was Tenkaichi the second time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's funny, Dodd, with Thunder Swords. It can be whatever it wants in my
And
heart.
speaking of being whatever wants in your heart, Balfey, you got anything near and dear to you that you'd like to shout out? Any highlights or any groups of people you want to say hello to?
Well, you know, thank you for Saf, you know, for bullying me so much with yellow vaccine that I had to find an answer for it.
Very cool.
Thank you for Johnny for letting me test it against you and just making it happen. And then finally, there's a deck profile coming out on this channel. It's gonna be tight. And let me say, if you build that deck and it's not working for you, all I can say is you didn't want it enough. All right.
That's perfect. Hey, bud, I'm not letting anybody plug anything on this podcast ever again unless they tell people they don't want it enough.
This is crazy, by the way. This is Balfey being like, oh, thank you to my bully in high school that, like, broke my ribs and made me, like, question my own gender. You know, I really grew out of this. You know, I'm a much better man.
Yeah, but then it's that same bully one. It's like me going up to him at the end of high school, Bill, and then roundhouse kicking him in the face in front of in front of the entire school. You know, I got that on.
He's coming back to the reunion with his like 95k job, pulls up with the Rolex. Yeah. He's like, yeah, you built character in me, bro.
It's literally the meme of the guy that's like, oh, do you want to go out? I mean, she's like, oh no, what a loser. And then like she comes back, and then she's like, oh, why can't I find a good man? And the guy's like, with his suit.
And the guy's like, on play, add a level 6 or lower Digimon from the draft.
Just walk outside the door, just take one last look and just go, how many in deck? And then just walk out the door.
Thank you again to Balfey for being here on the show. This has been Misplay for Game, an episode number that I don't remember because it's 17. Not right in front of me. 17.
We've started hitting the cool androids.
Yeah, we gotta get to a couple things to plug before we go, because if we do them on the gameplay videos, people complain. Follow the TikTok. It's Misplay for Game Pod on TikTok. Andrew's going to be starting to upload things on there again, so it's not just friend of the show King Kai replying in all the comments. We appreciate you, Kai. Also, follow the Twitter. It's KnTElixar, it's KBeeDS, and it's the TommyNT. Follow us all on there, or X. You know the drill. You've heard it before. Check out I don't think we have had a chance to plug a video essay projects in a while, but the DP- video is extraordinarily topical now because of Heaven's Judgment and Magno on X. So if you've not seen it, go watch the DP- is weird and here's why video. Send that to 2 of your friends and text your aunt about it. She won't understand unless she's tight like that.
If she doesn't watch the video, your aunt doesn't love you.
That's Balfey, you're so right. Oh my god. Your aunt not coming to the cookout this year. What else is there? Is there anything else we want to plug? Oh, follow on Twitch. If you've got Twitch Prime, you can subscribe to the Twitch channel where we play all of these game shows live. It's over on twitch.tv/KnTElixar. And if you pay for Amazon Prime and you don't use your Twitch Prime on Andrew, it's kind of like not giving Jeff Bezos the permission to use his money. You just gotta like take it off him. He's leaving it dangling there.
You wouldn't show up to locals without a sleeved deck, and you shouldn't show up to Twitch with your Amazon Prime sub just completely not being used.
You wouldn't download the proxy.
Oh shoot, I gotta go.
Yeah, this was a fun one.
You need to laminate your proxies. That's how you do
that was diabolical.
We actually know somebody that adds foils to their proxies.
Exactly.
Oh, we should do that for the art sleeve ones, because I want to see that Gaia Force or like that War Greymon from the artist competition, but like actually foiled. Because that card was clearly designed to be foiled, and Bandai were like, nah.
No.
I'm not paying for that
I want to
shit.
thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for having me on. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. I'm so excited we got the excuse.
Yeah, we'll definitely try and rotate you back on for another one. You know, maybe when Rivals 2 is out, we're just going to derail the podcast and talk about Rivals for 40 minutes.
I mean, I've been told of an ice bear that spikes and has Bowser shenanigans. I mean...
And his name is Hexa Blaumon. Thank you. That's our time tonight.
Yeah, thanks everyone for all the support. We've hit 2K. When, you know, I actually do have to say this on the podcast. When we hit 3K, I'll make the Discord. People have been asking why there is no Discord. It's because I don't want to do it. When we hit 3K, we're actually nearly at 2.1 already. So like when we hit 3K, I will set up the Elixir Discord / Misplay for Game Discord. And maybe next week, I'll have a date for the case tournament that we keep talking about. It's getting bigger and better. We've got cool stuff coming, but not a date yet because Lamau. Yeah, that's all for this week. If you, whatever you're watching this on, make sure to give us the rating of whatever kind is 5 stars, like button, subscribe, follow, all the good stuff. Follow us on all the social media garbage, and as always, have yourselves a damn good one.
Baba boo, baba booey, baba booey.